So once again, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joe Dada, and I am the chairman of the NBCC MSME committee. I am pleased to welcome you all to this business optimization clinic, which promises to be very exciting indeed. I am particularly delighted to see our council and ESCO members here. Permit me just to mention our Deputy President, Ray Ateli, and our Vice President, Mr. Aki Oshuntoki. We also have our dear Vice Chairman of the MSME Committee, Mrs. Roslyn Onolaja. Also, we would like to say a big welcome to our distinguished speakers and all our esteemed guests. I will now please crave your indulgence for us to rise to observe the national anthems of Nigeria and Britain. So without further ado, please permit me to introduce our moderator for this event, who is no other than Ms. Dolapo Ogunjano. Let's put our hands together for Ms. Dolapo Ogunjano. Thank you very much, Dolapo.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Standing on existing protocol, my name is Dolapo Ogunjano. It is my pleasure and honor to be anchoring this event, but before we begin, please allow me to state some housekeeping rules. For our physical attendees, the restroom is on the left side, just outside the hall. Do not keep personal belongings unattended to. Please put your phone on silent or vibration. Questions will be answered during the Q&A session. Please raise your hands and the microphone will be brought to you. For those joining us virtually, If the volume is too low, kindly check your system volume. The event is being recorded and will be available live on our YouTube channel, Nigerian-British Chamber of Commerce, NBCC. To comment and have discussion, use the chat icon. To submit your questions via the Q&A. Only this will be answered during the question and answer session. Thank you for listening. Please join me as we welcome our Deputy President, Mr. Ray Ateli, for the welcome address.
One second.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Yes, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My role this morning is to make a speech as is customary, and then the event kicks off. The speech is that of the President and Chairman of Council, Ms. Bisi Adeyemi, and I'm just her deputy, her sidekick. So whatever you hear from me is coming from the President. Good morning, ESCO members, council members present, and those who have joined us online. The same is extended to you. Good morning as well to our distinguished speakers. We know that we won't be leaving here just with the same mindset with which we came. There will be transformation taking place at the end. Good morning, all attendees, for braving the traffic and making it to this place this morning. On behalf of the President and the Council Chairperson, I'm pleased to welcome you to this Business Optimization Clinic. I am particularly delighted to welcome first-time visitors for some of us who are coming here for the first time. It will be important for you to take time out, look around, and you possibly will find other opportunities that you can explore within this plaza. Let me also quickly introduce the Nigerian-British Chamber of Commerce. This chamber was set up in 1977, and the sole aim was to promote trade and investment between Nigeria and Britain. The chamber currently has over 400 members in its membership, and they are drawn from diverse sectors of the economy in Nigeria, as well as membership in the United Kingdom. We are an international affiliate of the British Chamber of Commerce. The British Chamber of Commerce is the BCC, and it gives us access to 53 chambers of commerce across the United Kingdom and 71 other international affiliates around the world. So this is a big family. It's not just domiciled here. The Business Optimization Clinic that we are attending this morning is designed to create a platform where solutions are proffered to business challenges by a team of experts that have given us the honor of coming here to share in their repertoire of knowledge. And we are very grateful to you once again. The clinic is one of the Chamber's initiatives. What we do as a Chamber is we try to support our members, especially our MSME membership, so that they too would take full advantage of opportunities that abound within the system to improve on their businesses. There are always areas to improve if you look very closely. And what better way to do that than to attend events like this, where you'll be hearing from experts that ordinarily you wouldn't have been able to stand in front of. And so I would enjoin all participants to take full advantage of this, network properly,
and I'm sure the conversation will continue after this event. Our distinguished speakers, who have been carefully based on their wealth of experience, include Mr. Olukayode Piton, who is the MD of industry. We have Professor Moji Adeyef, who is the Director General of NAFDAC. Also on the list, we have Malam Farouk Salim, the Director General and Chief Executive of Standard Organization of Nigeria. We have Mr. Bumi Koli Daudu, who is the Assistant Director of SMIDAN. And SMIDAN is doing quite a lot of work in this area, so it will be a pleasure to listen to him. We have Ms. Sheila Ojei, who is the Director of Strategy, Funding, and Shareholder Management at the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. And last but not least, we have Mrs. Ebere Njoku, who is a high-performance coach. So you can see that we are prepared this morning to share knowledge that is qualitative enough to merit bringing you here this morning. I appreciate the generosity of our sponsor, Terragon Group, the MSME committee chaired by Dr. Okay, we'll come back to that. The MSME committee for organizing this event, and our speakers for giving up their time despite the very difficult schedule. It is always important that when we have platforms like this, we should take full advantage of it once again. So the President extends her goodwill and wishes you well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our able DP. Thank you for that welcome speech. Without further ado, we'll move on to invite our speakers for this first morning session. So, the first person we'll be inviting, that will be moderating this morning, is from the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. Lagos State Employment Trust Fund? Please come with us here. Yes, please come up. Financing, no, have your seat. Financing and leverage of, her name is Ms. Sheila Ojei, LSCTF Director Strategy and Funding and Stakeholder Management at the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. Then the next person is the moderator, who will be speaking on the product and marketing enhancement, is Mr. Olubumi Kole Daudu, Assistant Director, SMIDAN. Please give him a round of applause. Okay, I learned Mr. Olubim Kole Daudu will be joining us virtually. And the third person for this morning session is no other but Professor Moji Adeyeye, Director General, NAFDAC. Please come up. Thank you so much, sir, for coming this morning. So I'll be introducing to us this morning Mrs. Sheila Ojei. Sheila Ojei is a business development and communication expert with experience in leading impact communications, implementing development strategies, and building partnership that supports job creation. She holds an MBA from Trinity College Dublin, a Master of Arts, MA, from Regent University, UK, and a bachelor's degree in accounting from St. John's University, USA. Sheila is currently the Director, Strategy, Funding, Stakeholder Management at the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, LSCTF, leading the strategy funding and stakeholder management team to deliver the LSCTF mandate of developing opportunities for Lagos residents through entrepreneurship, youth development, and job creation. Before joining LSCTF, she leads the marketing and communication team for Joberman Nigeria, overseeing all the marketing communications activity, including development and implementation of communications strategies for impact projects with organizations such as MasterCard Foundation and USAID. Let us put our hands together as we welcome Ms. OJ to give her presentation. Thank you, ma'am.
Allow me to stand on all existing protocol. Good morning, everyone. I hope we're having a fantastic morning. I certainly am. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. So yes, my name is Sheila Oj, and thank you for that profile. It's always strange listening to every time your profile is read to you. But yes, my name is Sheila Oj, and I am the Director of Strategy Funding and Stakeholder Management at the LSCTF. Interestingly, my career started in investment banking a while ago. I won't say how many years ago, so let's not start trying to guess my age. A while ago. And from investment banking, I then ended up in manufacturing. So yes, NAFDAC, standards organization, yes, very good. BOI, very good friends. Before joining Joberman Nigeria, and now in service to the government of Nigeria, specifically Lagos State, the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. Today, I am to speak on financing and leverage for MSMEs. And interestingly, when I got the invitation, the first question was, okay, like, where do we start? There's a lot to be said. And in this room, we have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to financing and when it comes to leveraging for businesses and industries in general. So I decided I am going to break it down to the simplest form, mostly because I deal majorly with MSMEs. And a lot of times when you have to discuss with MSMEs, well, nano and micro businesses, you have to break it down to the very simplest form. So my presentation is very simple, very straight to the point, but at the same time, I will also be sharing insights as to part of the things that we have learned in doing what we do. I just want to confirm if the slides are up now. Okay, the slides are almost up. So when discussing about finance and leveraging for MSMEs, there are quite a number of things that come to mind. On the first part, you look at the environment that we're in. We look at, okay, and the slides are up. Okay, great, that's fantastic. We look at the environment that we're in. You look at the businesses and the different kinds of businesses and the different kinds of things and requirements that they need. So I'll start off with talking about an organization called SoFresh. How many of us know SoFresh? Yes, most of us. Fantastic. SoFresh was set up in 2010 by a couple, Goke and Bimbo Balogun. They were founded as a pioneer indigenous restaurant chain that specializes in natural and fresh meals. So for those of us that have attempted dieting, we have been customers of SoFresh. Amen, see? In 2017, interestingly, when they were looking to expand, they applied and got a loan intervention from LSCTF because they needed to acquire some equipment. By 2018, just a year later, they were able to raise an additional $360,000 to expand across West Africa. Now, 12 years later, they have 15 outlets with over 150 employees. This is one organization, one company. And from their growth, you can see that they have contributed to direct employment. They have contributed to indirect employment from the vendors that they use, farmers, logistics. They have contributed to financial inclusion because a lot of the farmers, if the ones who weren't financially literate are now financially literate from doing business with them. And for us as Lagos State, they also contributed to paying their taxes, which we are very grateful for. So this is the reason why we do what we do at LSCTF. Next slide, please. For us at LSCTF, it is seeing the vision of each business, of each nano, of each micro, each small, each medium enterprise in Lagos State. So for anyone who doesn't know LSCTF, or the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, I can go ahead and read out our profile and what we do, but I will just say in summary that we were established in 2016. Next slide. We were established in 2016 with the mandate to create or to enable the creation of jobs. So that's why we have our organizations like, SMEDAN that we work very closely with. Because for us, the goal is how can we create jobs? In Nigeria, we say as of the last published statistics, it's 33% unemployment rates, but in Lagos, it's 37.14%. As of the last stats I saw, it's about 40%, but I refuse to believe it. So I'll stick with 37.14% in terms of unemployment rates. For every hour, we have 85 people that migrate into Lagos because Lagos is seen as the American dream of Nigeria. So what do we do at LSCTF? We do a number of things. Again, the goal is to create jobs or to enable the creation of jobs. First, we offer loans to nano, micro, small, and medium enterprises. We also have the employability support, which is for training young people and placing them in jobs. So it's either job matching, placing them in jobs, or for the ones that decide to go through the entrepreneurship route, they start their business and we support them with starter kits. We also have Lagos Innovates that caters to the tech ecosystem and providing support for infrastructure to startup founders. And we all know what's happening in the tech ecosystem right now. And then we have the Lagos Cares program, which is done in partnership with the World Bank, and it's a grant for businesses that have been affected by COVID-19. Since inception, we have contributed to to the creation of over 180,000 direct and indirect jobs. We have contributed to quite a number of tech startups, over 400. And over 14,000 young people have been trained through our programs. So, like I said, I want to break it down to the simplest form. So for those of us that are experienced in this, just imagine you know nothing about business finance. And for those of us that are still learning, here's just the simplest way to explain it. So for me, I ask myself, if I was going to talk about business finance, what would I explain to my 6-year-old or almost 6-year-old daughter if she wanted to understand? Because interestingly, this morning she was asking me what is equity, and I didn't know how to explain it to her. So understanding business finance, very simple, in simple terms, is the process of funding business operations with money from outside the business. That's it. Very simple. Process of funding business operations with money from outside the business. Next slide, please. So we have three, again, breaking it down, three general themes of financing. We have debt financing, which most of us know one way or the other. We have equity financing, and we have grant financing, which is kind of my favorite. Debt financing, what are the advantages of the different ones? For debt financing, it's simple. You keep full ownership of your business. You have no obligations after paying your debt. There are various options from various organizations, right? So short and long-term options available, and you have more cash on hand. For equity, advantages is that there's less risk than debt. There's no paying back of funds immediately. You gain credibility through investor networks, and investors generally don't expect immediate ROI. For grant financing, it's free money. I don't know how else to explain that. It's free money. Which means there's no repayment, no risk, and then there's something that we call the waterfall effect, where once you've received one grant, there is a chance of you being able to receive another. So what are the disadvantages? For debt financing, the disadvantages, next slide please. The disadvantages are, one, you must pay back. You know, a lot of times, especially in the space that we're in, you get people who take loans and it's like they pay back, they forget. It's just by mistake they have forgotten. They forget that they should pay back. Interestingly, for us at LSCTF, it's kind of like, it's both ways, because we're also a government agency. So when you say, oh, you collected a loan, please come and pay back. They're like, why? You know, they don't understand why they should pay back. After all, it's the national cake that we are sharing. Another disadvantage is that it could cause cash flow issues. And then collateral is needed for large funds, right? So what you will find from every organization here when we're talking about financing for MSMEs, one of the things that I would say is most of us do not require collateral for most nano and micro businesses. But the form of collateral that we would expect is guarantors. So there has to be at least one person that can actually vouch for you. If you don't have one person to vouch for you, then that is a problem. Then equity financing, disadvantages include investor returns could be more than debt payments. Investors get some ownership, and so because of that, you must always consult your investors before you make decisions. And then grant financing, as much as it's free money and we all love it, it's highly competitive and difficult to source. There's also the uncertainty of renewal. And the part that they never tell you is very restrictive. So you collect the grant money, but they tell you how to spend it. So that is what it is about the different forms. There's something that I always say a lot of times when I have conversations and when I have business clinics with nano and micro businesses. You know, sometimes they will say, oh, me, I can never collect loan. No, never. I cannot use loan. I don't want to use loan. And I always have to explain a simple thing. Money is a tool for business growth. If you can understand that money is a tool for business growth, then you will learn how to use it. So it's like planting. It's like you have a seed, and money is your water, and then you use it for your business to grow. And from that, you now say when you can leverage on that, and that is just the easiest way to explain what it means, leveraging, just knowing the right things to do and what not to do. Recently, I tried to start growing plants. I bought flowers, and the first question I asked them was like, I don't really do this, so how am I supposed to keep these flowers alive? And they told me, oh, put Panadol in the water. I was like, what? Like, I didn't understand. What am I putting? They're like, oh, Panadol or Sprite. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I never knew that. I tried it. Unfortunately, the flower still died, so maybe I didn't put enough Panadol in the water. Or maybe I put too much. Or maybe I should have mixed it with Sprite. I don't know. But it's just understanding, in the simple terms, is how to use simple things for your business to grow. So what are the do's and don'ts? And it's interesting that every time we have conversations with MSMEs, these are some of the things that I have to explain. First things first, purchasing of inventory is a do, right? You get a loan, and because you need to get inventory, you need to get equipment. Same thing with assets. When you have challenging times, you can actually get a loan to fund your operations. But if your operations cost is becoming too high, then you may have to look into your operations and know what you need to cut down. There's refinancing of debt. Again, I explained earlier that there are different forms of debt, so you can find cheaper options and then take that to refinance what you might have taken that is higher, it's more expensive for you. And then you spend money to make money, so marketing is always an expense. And it's interesting because most times people don't see the value of it, but in order for people to be aware of your business, you have to spend money. So for example, there are exhibition booths outside, and some organizations in other places would have had to pay for the spaces, right? So you spend money for your visibility. What are the don'ts? Using business money for non-business related activities. That is the reason why at LSETF we do not disburse in December. Can you guess why? Exactly. Because it becomes Christmas money. And in January, it becomes school fees money. So we wait till the end of January to disburse. Because by the time they have spent the money to go to the village and, have parties, they don't have the money that they need for their business anymore. And it's interesting because that's one of the insights that we have gotten. Like, every time we disburse in December, those sets of MSMEs always struggle to pay back. And once they've struggled with the first and the second payments, you know that you will send recovery after them after a while. So using money, business money for non-business related activities. Applying for too many loans. It's always best to get loan for what you need and when you need it. Most times, because people feel they have free access, they just decide, oh, I'm going to do this. Let me go and this organization is giving loan. I'll go to LSETF, I'll go to this commercial bank, and as well gives loan to grow the business. And they will keep going from organization to organization. But then they cannot keep the business with that. They do not know how to leverage on that. So that is also a and a don't. Don't apply for too many loans. Like I said before, not paying back your obligations because, again, it is a loan, so you have to pay back. And then another don't is giving up stake in your business too soon. Because of the convenience of, quote-unquote, convenience of equity, you find that a lot of businesses just feel, I need money, so instead of taking a loan, let me sell shares. And so what happens is that they're giving a part of their business too soon, and then by the time the business grows, it's like, oh, I want to buy out my the shareholder. I want to buy out this person. Sometimes it takes a little bit more work to ensure that your business has grown to a particular level. So when you're asking for equity, you know what value you are giving to the investors. When you have investors too soon in your business, you might have a problem because then you won't be able to make certain decisions that you need to make at that time. Not saying that you shouldn't, but I'm just saying that if it's too soon, there might be a problem. So it's for you as a business owner, knowing when is the right time to actually have equity. Next slide, please. So there are general funding opportunities. We've talked about business. This is a bit small. It's a bit small. So I'll just talk through some of them. There are general opportunities that are available. And I'm glad that we have the BOI in the room. We have Smedan in the room. So by the time you have conversations, you will know other opportunities that are available. There are a few grants that are available as well from the likes of the Tony Elumelu Foundation and the Global Innovation Fund as well. Sorry, next slide. But for us at LSETF, what are the funding opportunities available? First, we have what we call the Micro Enterprise Startup Loan, which starts from 50,000 all the way up to 250,000. Because we are an intervention fund, our interest rate is 9%, single digits, right? Requirements are standardized across, so we have LASRA ID because we need to know that you're a Lagos resident and your business is in Lagos. Interestingly, sometimes they're like, but my business is outside. I'm like, we would love to support you, but our mandate is Lagos, so it's Lagos Lagos state businesses. And then just to touch on the micro enterprise startup. So part of the reasons why we did that is because a lot of times when we have young people who've gone through our employability trainings, the ones that decide that they want to start their own businesses, they struggle with raising capital. So they've gone through the training, the incubation and everything, and so they have access to a startup loan. Then we have the micro enterprise loan, 50 to 500,000. We have the SME loan, 500,000 to 5 million. And then when you have grown to the point that you need more than 5 million, we will send you to our colleagues who can give you more than that, because our job is to get you from 0 to 1. And then we now have a grant, like I said before, for Lagos Cares, which is in partnership with the World Bank for businesses that have been affected by COVID-19, by the pandemic. So why do we do what we do? Like I said, next slide. When you look at Nigeria, we have over 41 million MSMEs. When you look at Lagos, we have over 3 million MSMEs. At LSCTF, we believe that by empowering an MSME, we are enabling them to at least create one job. So like I said at the beginning, our goal is to create jobs or enable the creation of jobs. So our motto and what we say at LSCTF is for every one MSME, we can create one job. So if we can support all 3 million MSMEs in partnership with different organizations that we partner with, then we would have created 3 million jobs in Lagos State. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Sheila Oji. That was very deep and insightful. And sincerely, I hear you so loud and clear. You said using business money for non-business activity is wrong. Never, never do it. I'm a business person, and that's great insight to me. And also, you know, she said something about knowing when to bring in your investors. That's equally deep. Sincerely, you have to know the right timing. I remember when I wanted to start my own business sometimes back, and I went to meet somebody for money, and I was told, let me pump him more money. I said, no, don't pump him more money. But with the little resources I had, I've been able to push the business forward 16 years. Thank you so much for that. So moving on, we'll invite NAFDAC, and representing is Mr. Iron Cup. Hope I didn't murder the name. Oh. Please. I need to pay for that, I'm sure. Okay, apologies for that. Professor Adeyeye is the Director General of Nigerian National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, where she's leading regulatory and administrative reforms through a quality management approach. She has added strong governance, structure, and regulatory strengthening to NAFDAC through disciplined and motivational workforce, updating of regulations and guidelines, strengthening the local pharmaceutical companies through international best practices, and encouraging local production. She has brought NAFDAC from insolvency to solvency and refocused the agency to be standard operational procedure-driven organization that has embraced international standard and best practices. She's a professor emeritus of pharmaceutical and drug product evaluation of the College of Pharmacy, Roosevelt University in Illinois, USA. Professor Adeyeye was the founding chairman of Biopharmaceutical Sciences at the same university, Illinois. With clap, let us welcome Mr. Anya Kopp, Deputy Director NAFDAC, who is representing Professor Adeyeye. Please, can you pronounce the name? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. All protocols duly observed. My name is Ayan Kopp. You know, I'm not from America. I'm a Akwa Ibom man. Ayan Kopp. Everybody say Ayan Kopp. Ayan Kopp. I think you can clap for yourselves for that. Thank you. Presently, I'm working at the ports inspection, but I've spent like 10 years in NAFDAC in registration. I've been in charge of electronic registration, that is NAPAMS, for several years. So that is why I was pushed to come here. The DG actually, if you look at the minute she sent to us, actually planned to be here herself. She actually planned to be here. But I think on Monday she had a need to travel out of the country and to attend to some very important policy issues. So I was in Abuja just yesterday trying to sort out official things, and I was told that I must be here this morning. So you can imagine if I keep presenting and then I slip off, don't be angry with me. It's not my fault. Can my presentation be up now? Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, I was supposed to send a PowerPoint. I thought I did that, but it ended up not being a PowerPoint. So you will manage it the way it is. Regulatory requirements for marketing authorization. Somebody is still murdering my name. Regulatory requirements for marketing authorization. I am told I have just 15 minutes, so I'll try to run as fast as I can. And that's the outline. We're going to look at the presentation, the NAFDAC mandate. We'll do an overview of product registration process, and then we'll look at the possibilities in NAPAMS. Thereafter, we'll also look at other incentives that, initiatives that NAFDAC is putting out there, and the challenges MSMEs and everybody else faces in the course of dealing businesses with us, and of course the way forward before we conclude. Next slide. You have to be very fast so that you cope with me. NAFDAC mandate. Everything has to do with the law that enables you and empowers you. And so you can see I highlighted the word regulate and control. The essence of law is to enable you to have control. Next slide. Apart from the core law, that's the NAFDAC Act, Cap N1, laws of the Federation of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 2004, we have a lot of other laws that empower us or that we leverage, using the language of my madam, to carry out our regulatory functions, and they are all there. Next slide. NAFDAC vision is to be a world-class regulator. And I have good news for you in that. In February or March this year, yes, March this year, NAFDAC was certified by the WHO as a maturity level 3 regulator. What that means is that if NAFDAC pronounces on a particular product, globally, it is accepted. If we say this is the percentage, that is what it is. It's not been easy getting to that level. We have a DG that brings the rigors of academic and enterprise. She herself has about 5 patents. So all of us have been on the run ever since she came. Getting things to work and building systems, and, sometimes you don't sleep until... We are not a typical civil service system. So that our vision is becoming reality. Also, our mission is to protect and promote public health by instituting an effective and efficient regulatory system that ensures that only the right quality of foods, drugs, and other regulated products are manufactured, exported, imported, advertised, sold, and used. NAFDAC is also ISO 9001:2015 certified. Our labs have international accreditations. Next slide. Now let's go to do an overview of product registration. When I spoke to the law, I told you that I highlighted regulate and control. The purpose of regulation, regulation is to have control. Otherwise, it will just be an all-comers affair. We all know what happened in NAFDAC before Professor Dora Akunyili came. Many of you know her, of blessed memory. I'm very emotional about her because if not for her, people like me, a minority from Akwa Ibom would not have got a NAFDAC job. But she opened the floodgates and many of us were able to come in, and she brought in a lot of control into the system. So a system that was dying and comatose, she brought sanity, and ever since then we've been very fortunate to have a good team of directors general that have been very good. So whatever NAFDAC is today is all about, and we all know about it, is about leadership. And so licensure, that is issuance of license, is a tool for control. And the goal is to protect public health. We carry out other tools for control and regulation. We carry out inspections of production facilities wherever they are. We also have our team in the ports. So products that arrive in the ports, we inspect them. We also issue the normal licenses for products that leave our shores for export. We issue certificates of free sales, certificates of health certificates, and so on, export approvals. We also carry out laboratory evaluation and make pronouncement. Those are the things the law empowers us to do. Please go back there. And then we also have post-marketing surveillance. What that means is that the fact that the product is in the market and we're giving it a number, it's not all over yet. We still go for it. We do mystery shopping, we do random sampling, and we try to find out what happens. Each of these bullet points you see is actually being handled by a directorate in NAFDAC. So we have a directorate that does ports inspection. We have an establishment inspection for drugs and for food. We have the Laboratory Services Directorate. We have the Pharmacovigilance and Post-Marketing Surveillance. And then, of course, we have the Investigation and Enforcement. Thank you. Next slide. Now, let's zoom in a bit on the registration process. It's a stepwise process for obtaining marketing authorization for regulated products. When I say both parties play their roles, it means NAFDAC as a regulator and the industry as a regulated have a role to play to make it good for a win-win for both of us. And so for us, we elaborate and bring out regulations and guidelines to maintain the balance. We expect the industry also to carry out documentation and submit good documents to us, because we do document review. Sometimes we approve a product based on the documents that have been submitted, especially when we have to do a lot to do with the collaborative work we do with other stringent regulatory agencies globally. And so if we see that, for instance, US FDA has approved a product, we can give a provisional approval based on document review if we are satisfied that truly that product has been approved by the US FDA, because they have the facilities and they have what it takes, to do a thorough screening for a product. We do laboratory assay, we do facility inspection, we do post-marketing surveillance, I've explained that before, and then also we do inspection at the ports of entry. Next slide. Now, let's look at the possibilities of NAPAMS. NAPAMS is NAFDAC Automated Product Administration and Monitoring System. The website or the URL is what you see there, napams.org or registration.nafdac.gov.ng. NAPAMS was built for us by us. We sat down and put the registration process we had and then created an electronic platform for it. I think you need to clap for NAFDAC for that. What I mean by that is we didn't just go over to the market and pick up a registration tool. And this NAPAMS has really been accredited for a lot of the impact it has had in assisting us as a tool in product registration. It makes provisions for e-payment, so a client can stay in the convenience of his house and pay for product registration. And then you can also, you have an E2E, that means end-to-end registration process. So it means you can stay in your house and initiate and probably complete your registration without having to come to NAFDAC. And then also we have customized, it is customized for completion at the zonal registration and state registration centers. What I mean by that is when this DG came, she decided that every product does not have to come to Lagos to register. Wherever you are in the 6 geopolitical zones, you can actually register your product there. And so she posted directors to those places and allowed them the capability, the empowerment to preside and supervise the registration of products at the zonal level. And NAPAMS has the capacity to also handle that. It's improved. We are on version 2 now. It's more user-friendly and is compliant with global best practices. I'm waiting for you. Okay, so when we talk about registration, basically you break it down into 3 basic steps. 1, when you visit NAPAMS, you register your profile. It's just like when you get admitted into a school, you write your name. So you register, and the system asks you questions, you answer the questions, you supply the needed information, and so the system profiles you and then admits you into the platform. Then you can now log in as a user and register your products. Then, of course, on NAPAMS also, you can monitor the status of your product before, during, and after registration. What are the other requirements that we need, you need, industry, to be able to make it a win-win for us? 1, you have to ensure your product is good quality. It is Toyota that told us that when the product, how do they say it? Good thinking, good product. There's no way you can bring a failing product and then expect a good result to come out. By virtue of what we do in NAFDAC, the product will end up failing and failing again. And so let's make sure intrinsically the product is good. When you bring that in, it will have less stress on you. Because each time we send a product to the lab, you're going to pay for the registration, for the analysis, because we use chemicals and a lot of resources to do that. The next thing you look at under that is labeling. We have labeling requirements. If you visit our website, NAFDAC. 2 minutes more. Okay. We have labeling requirements. We have packaging and presentation. Your product has to be well packaged for somebody to be willing to buy. And then, of course, the product has to be safe and efficacious. Safe for food, efficacious for drugs, and all that. And then, of course, it has to be fit for intended use. We carry out GMP. What I mean is GMP is good manufacturing practice, inspection at your site. We also ensure proper documentation. And this, what I mean by communication and feedback, is some people just come, drop their product in NAFDAC, and they go to sleep. And then they start complaining that NAFDAC did not do anything. Since January, I submitted my application. Meanwhile, NAFDAC has been communicating with you. trying to send a mail. On NAPAMS, we send mails almost at each stage of the progress of your application. So if your email is not working, you need to make sure you get it back to work. Then, of course, payment. For services that we render, we expect us to pay for it. For MSMEs, management has really dropped the charges very, very down to rock bottom levels just to encourage MSMEs. Thank you. Next slide. Other regulatory initiatives, we have streamlined and evolving regulatory processes. I just told you about our maturity level 3 achievement. Then we have regulatory capacity enhancement in line with global requirements. NAFDAC is always evolving every day. And then, of course, NAFDAC has a lot of incentives for MSMEs, MSME focus initiatives. Remember, we had palliatives for, my time is up. It's not my fault, it's the fault of the man that did not. So we have walk-in assisted registration. So if I'm struggling, we have people in the States, for instance, who are not educated, and we still want to bring them on. So we have desks where they come in, and we try to assist them. What do you want to do? How do you do it? And then we assist them to do that. Then, of course, I've spoken about the decentralization of registration to the zones. We have approval for shared facilities. So if I do not have the facility, you can go and borrow. I can go to Technology Incubation Center, for instance. There's one at Iju, and then I can register my product there, and NAFDAC will recognize it. And there's this one-man business allowance. Allowance is not money. NAFDAC approves for a man that just has a small, maybe a kitchen office, a kitchen industry. He will be the managing director. He'll be the production manager. He'll be the quality assurance. He'll be the salesman. That's a one-man business. We still allow for such things, provided there's some basic requirements that are met. And then, of course, we have reduced tariffs for MSMEs. Knowledge, common challenges, knowledge gap. And I think I commend the British, I wanted to say British American, BCC. Forgive me, I'm just here for the first time, for making this forum for your members. When I say common challenges, I also say common to NAFDAC and to you. So when we say global economic outlook, for instance, we have to source chemicals abroad, and we have to pay for it. So we have security challenges, for instance. Nobody is spared the palaver of security issues, and so forth. So we also have the issue of rejects due to quality of exports. Some of our clients export their products to UK, for instance, to Europe generally, and the products are rejected. They send them back to Nigeria, and they put a rapid alert on it. So anywhere it goes, nobody will buy it until it comes back to the country. And those things do not speak well for us as regulators. And so we want to encourage people who want to export, please come with us. Let us work it together, so that the things that we issue license, we can guarantee for them. And with that, we'll be able to make it will also be a win-win for us. Next slide, please. Way forward, self-education and networking, public education. NAFDAC carries out a lot of that. Focus MSME support for funding, and that's what Lagos, when I sat with her, I told her I'm going to have your card because I want to fund my business. All right. And so we have also what I mean by stakeholder involvement in policy and government. We are into election cycle now. You have to get involved. Many of us sit on the fence. I go on Twitter and I see a lot of tweets, but when it comes to election, nobody's voting. So the status quo remains. It is your turn now to determine, because whatever you do now determines what will happen tomorrow. And so it's part of government. You have to be involved. You have to choose the government that you want. I'm not campaigning. I didn't mention any names. So, but it's very important. When we sit down and complain, we should know that we are the cause of what we're doing. Thank you. I think that's all. NAFDAC will always continue to evolve customer-focused initiatives to support the industry in order to assure safety, efficacy, and quality of all regulated products that we manufacture, distribute, import, sell, and use. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And one-man business? One-man business, that is a lot of flexibilities. I say thank you to you, sir, on behalf of the MSMEs. So, moving on, would call on our sponsor to come over in another 2 minutes to talk. Terragon, are they around? Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Standing on existing protocol, my name is Vincent Asekame, and I work with the marketing team at Terragon. Terragon is Africa's leading data and marketing technology company. We exist to help businesses, enterprises, small and medium-sized businesses to engage intelligently with their customers and create personalized experiences at scale on mobile. We are very excited to be sponsors of today's event. The reason for doing that is because we are also very passionate about helping the MSME sector in Nigeria. Just as she spoke earlier, we have 41 million MSMEs in Nigeria, and they contribute about 48% to the GDP and account for about 96% of businesses in Nigeria. So not paying attention to this sector does not speak well of the country or of our future. So we have a solution called Terragon Prime. Now, Terragon Prime is a multi-channel customer engagement solution that helps businesses to run targeted and personalized customer engagement campaigns on mobile. The platform has about 100 million profiles of Nigerian customers, and businesses can intelligently connect with these customers directly on the platform. Now, this is what Terragon Prime offers businesses: the ability to reach 100 million plus profiles directly on mobile. So think about what you do on Facebook, Instagram, the kind of campaigns you run. Think about doing that through SMS. Because again, Nigeria is largely an offline market. No matter how you look at it, it's about 49% online and 51% offline. So you need to be able to reach people directly on mobile through SMS, just the way you would do that on Facebook and Instagram. Now, also some of us businesses have customer database, and your customers' information today is not the same tomorrow. Customers are moving, they are changing their purchase behaviors. A lot is happening to them. For instance, someone has an account and is receiving 33,000 naira, and you bring the person as a core member. Tomorrow the person gets a job, information has changed, and you can't be targeting that same person with the same information or with the same products. So the platform allows you to enrich the data that you have so that you can be able to intelligently engage with your customers. You are recommending products that they need and not products that they want. Now, in terms of running campaigns on the platform, it has custom audience, customers interested in fashion and lifestyle, and different things, so you can segment your customers based on that. Also, you can segment your customers, or even the customers on the platform, based on location, device type, economic value, spend power, interest also, and age grade. So you can say, I'm an MSME that sells phones. I want to sell the new iPhone 14. I'm going to target people, maybe people living in Lekki or VI. No offense to those on the mainland, but maybe people living in these areas, yeah? And I'm going to target, now you see the platform showing 100 million people, and you're targeting people living in Lekki or VI. You want to target people in Lagos. You can say, okay, I want to target people using iOS devices. You know, Samsung users, for instance, would not want to switch to Apple, maybe. So you can say, okay, let me not waste my money. Let me just target people using Apple phones already and want to upgrade. I want to target people who can spend between 500K or 400K to 1M monthly on buying this device, all right? Yet the model is reducing to the kind of people that actually need your product. So in that way, when you send out SMS and they're receiving it instantly, not when they have to come online, they're receiving it instantly, chances of a higher conversion is high than just blasting messages, maybe through random bulk SMS or through Facebook or Instagram and all that. So we're not saying that you should stop your online marketing. We're saying that digital offline marketing can complement what you're doing with these other platforms. We have very strong partnership with the telcos and big tech partners such as Meta. So it gives us the opportunity to understand customers, to have deep insights on these customers, and it will help your business. So we're outside available for people to sign up on the platform. Signing up on the platform is free of charge. And you also have 100 free credits to test out the platform, to see how it works for your business. And when you're happy with it, you can fund your wallet on the platform, which is very easy. A message goes for about 3 naira per unit. And then you get to access over 100 million profiles on the platform. Also with very strict adherence to data privacy, because Terragon is ISO 27001 compliant and certified, and also compliant to NDPR and GDPR guidelines. So we pay attention to data privacy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Terragon. You see us at your doorstep. So, moving on. We'll be connecting with media now. They are not here physically, but I bet you they are here. I'm sure we all know after the COVID, life has been better. So it's possible you're not somewhere physically, but then you are there. Your impact is felt. So I assure you today that Smeden's impact will be felt here today. Do we have Smeden ready online? Are they ready? So while we wait, I'll read Mr. Bumi Kole Daudu's profile, the Assistant Director of Smeden. Bumi is a self-driven enterprise development officer with 24 years quality work experience, 17 years in a world-class business development service provision in SME subsector. Bumi is a graduate of microbiology, master's in palynology, MBA with doctorate business administration specializing in enterprise networking in regional development. Certified trainer of International Organization on Migration, IOM. Certified management professional, managing successful projects for small and medium-scale business in Nigeria. Bumi excels in a fast-pacing, challenging environment and possesses excellent international communication, presentation, negotiation, problem-solving, and business development skills. His key competencies include enterprise development, small business startup and development, design and solution program for MSMEs, and project management, product development and sales, business process involvement, improvements, re-engineering, quality management, as well as transition service management. Bumi is currently the Assistant Director heading Smeden Lagos State Office and seat on the board of 3 microfinance banks. Thank you so much. That's Mr. Bumi Kole Daudu's profile, but I was just informed now that it's been a bit of challenge connecting with him online. So I would move on to SON. SON is here today and representing us today. Just a minute. So I'll be introducing to you today, introduction of Malam Farouk, Director General and Chief Executive, SON. Malam Farouk Salim is a brilliant Nigerian pharmacist who holds a bachelor's degree in pharmacy from the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and a master's of business administration, MBA, from the Washington University, Missouri, USA. He worked variously with different organizations in Missouri and in Illinois in the United States of America as a clinical pharmacist, staff pharmacist and allergy specialist, consultant partner, consultant pharmacist, and lastly, as clinical pharmacist with Barnes Jewish Hospital, St. Louis, the USA from 1993. His core competencies cover organization structuring, quality assurance and management, project management, as well as written and speaking skills. Malam Farouk Salim's vision is to bring changes, by promoting public safety, the role of standard in local manufacturing, import and export, as well as creating an enabling environment for innovations that will stimulate national self-sufficiency. Representing Malam Farouk today is Engineer Fiben Arumemi. Please, let's make a loud welcome, Mrs. Engineer. Thank you so much for coming, ma'am. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Distinguished members of the council, the president, and members, a pleasure for coming before you. My personal honor standing before this distinguished house to represent my DG, Malam Farouk Salim, who would have also loved to be here, but there's an international organization for standardization General Assembly going on in Dubai, and he has to attend to present Nigeria's position and see that we are well covered in terms of international standardization. So I'll be doing this presentation on his behalf, and I'll take your questions thereafter. I'm told I have 15 minutes, so I'll go straight to business. So the title is Supporting MSMEs with Standardization for Quality Production and Export. And it speaks to the topic that we were assigned, standards for production processes, packaging, labeling to make Nigeria's products exportable. So I'll be taking you through what standardization is all about, our role as SON, your role as either an industry, trade or investment personality. And then you understand why we need to work together in the interest of the products you are trading with Britain and also locally. The order is here, and this is how we are going to take it. Next slide. Okay, so this is a short brief on SON. It's very old, since 1971, and it has the sole responsibility to develop standards in Nigeria. It's also a parastatal under the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. And you will appreciate why we are on that there, because the work we do covers industry, trade, and investment. What is the work of SON? Basic, to develop standards, to achieve quality, because without standards, you cannot have a baseline to determine what quality is. And then it helps you also to guarantee quality, and that's where our certification comes to play, to ensure that made in Nigeria products, whether you're importing or you're exporting, meets those requirements with the standards as the baseline. And then to achieve that, it goes through inspection, laboratory testing, and measurements to assure that quality. And then, of course, the evidence is through the SON certifications that will be issued to you. And I did mention that he's in ISO GA. That means we also represent Nigeria in all standardization institutions that are global. This is our regulatory framework that gives us the background on which we are working, and it is the 1999 Constitution that said we should do what we are doing. We also have the SON Act 14 of 2015, which gives us also the mandate of everything that we do that I'll be sharing with you today. Next slide. Our commitments are very comprehensive. It is to ensure that we provide you with the standards and the quality assurance services that we all need to enhance our competitiveness of products, services, and processes in line with international global best practices. So in terms of competitiveness, we are there to ensure that you get the components of competitiveness, quality, cost, and responsiveness. And our core values are there for us to note. I'll be taking you through some technical terms, and it's good we understand the basics. Standards is what people normally want to ask. What is standards? It's an everyday word, but for us, it's a document. As we progress, you are going to see it, that is issued by a competent authority. All right, and it specifies the requirements that you agree as stakeholders as essential for achieving quality. And we already know what quality is by terms we use also, but there are technical definitions which is there on the boards as being the degree of compliance to standards, and then the requirements that are established by the customer, because the customer is the ultimate determinant of what quality is. And then, of course, we won't forget fitness for purpose. And we know now that quality is the driving force of industry, trade, and investment. And we'll get to see it, especially as you are trading with counterparts who are very, very conscious about quality and standards. We already know what MSME is, even though we now have the nano that is included. So I'll take you through the standards development and use. The standards that SON develops is known as the Nigeria Industrial Standards, and it cuts across all segments of life. Whether you are in the public, you are in the private sector. We adopt standards. We are going to explain it as we progress. And SON is not the developer of the standards, in quote. We merely coordinate, and you are going to see it as we also progress. National technical committees are responsible for formulating what a standard should be for a particular product or service. And then, so we are also the custodian of all the standards that you will require in the whole world. Next slide. This is the process for standards development. We look at what the market needs are. That's our responsiveness, manufacturers' requests, including trade associations like the NBCC, and we look at technical innovations and government policies as well. So these are factors that drive relevance under standards development. And for you to be involved in standards development, or when I mentioned that SON is not actually the person or the institution that develops the standards. You see, under the openness, consensus, impartiality, those are the category of people who are responsible for standards development. The academia, manufacturers, research institutions, consumer or consumer groups, exporters, etc. And it includes those who are in the trade and investment, and other aspects. And so that's the process. There are data collection and drafting of standard by technical secretaries. In-house committee do the review. There are collation and harmonization of stakeholders' comments by technical committee. I'm not sure if this chamber, since its existence, has received notice of standards development seeking for comments to see how it works with them. Otherwise, from here, it's one of the feedback I will take back to my institution to begin to seek your inputs into those standards. And then after the collation and harmonization, of course, the SOM management will review and it's approved by the Standards Council. And once they approve it, it becomes a standard, a legal document that is used in the country. And so this is a typical technical committee meeting. You see diverse personalities that are seated. Levels of standards, there are different standards, actually. You have company standards, which you're already using. You know what you want to do, you've written it down. That is your company standards. Trade group standards, like the NBCC establishing some standards and saying if you want to export ABC to Britain, you must abide by ABC. That is a trade group standards. And then you have the national standards, which is the overall in a nation. So every country have a national standards body and national standards. So Britain has their British Institute of Standards. Then we have the regional standards, which is under the ECOWAS, the Continental African Organization for Standardization, and international standards. An example being the International Organization for Standardization, the one I mentioned that my DG is currently attending. And so all these standards are infused into the Nigeria Industrial Standard. Because to avoid chaos, there shall be only one standard that operates in a country for a specific product or service. Next slide. And so there are different types of standards depending on the one that you want to use. Next slide. MSMEs and standards. So why do you require standards? It's benefits of standards. So you see in the middle you have economic development and business growth. So for you to be able to achieve those components that are very, very instrumental to economic growth, you must use standards. So it enhances customer satisfaction. It helps you to comply with regulatory requirements. Competitiveness for local and international market access is there. Business expansion of standards. And then you see the certifications that we offer. I'll explain as we progress. And then the services that are also there for you. So all these services aim to address manufacturing, trade, and investment. This is how a typical standard looks like. You are going to see copies we have a desk in the exhibition hall, so you can visit and see how a standard looks like. And this is how the standards look. You see the content, members of the technical committee, you see the scope. It tells you what the ingredients should be if you are producing items, products. Then the quality requirements, it sets out what each quality requirements should be. You are seeing microbial requirements. And then classification, hygiene requirements, sampling, method of analysis. You see packaging, labeling, handling, and storage. So you see how it touches the very essence of what you produce. So this will be addressing our services, especially our conformity assessment services, which is inspection, testing, and certification. So these are stages that will take you through in order to be able to achieve that certification that will be globally compliant. So the first stage is for us to inspect your facility and know your customer relationship is established through there. Okay, so we have the second stage, which involves your laboratory testing. So we have to test your products through sampling. We don't just look at how beautiful your package looks like and make the assumption that it looks beautiful. So this is where beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Does not really apply. And so the next stage to that is consideration of the inspection and laboratory reports. And then if you find that all of this is aligning with the requirements of the standards, as I earlier showed you, and then you will get the certification. But getting the certification does not mean we will leave you there. We have to monitor and evaluate you for continuous improvements. So we continue to drive you for you to align with current practices, your customer expectations, meeting their needs, and surpassing. Don't forget, the Nigerian Industrial Standards only lays a minimum benchmark. You are expected to surpass that benchmark, and that is where the competitiveness now comes. So it helps you to begin to monitor what the trends are, what your customer requirements are. So if you're into yogurt production, for example, you are going to be seeing your neighbor is producing flavor A, B, C, and then you decide, okay, let me turn around and bring in these improvements. So that is the essence of this particular slide. Next one. So these are our laboratory services. We have accredited parameters that helps you to meet international requirements. And they are listed: food, chemical, electrical, our engineering lab for engineering infrastructure. We have a textile and leather. And then the National Metrology Institute, which is responsible for the calibration of your equipment. So when you are weighing and it is not balanced, it's not for you to bring that finger and do this. Huh? No. The Metrology Institute helps you to calibrate, to ensure that your equipment, your measuring equipment, aligns with the accredited weight. So you don't get shortchanged, neither will you be expected to shortchange your customer. So if they say 50 kg bags, you take it to Britain, the weight is still going to be what? 50 kg. So that is where it gets done. So from time to time, you patronize us for that service. Our product certification I've discussed extensively. It just aligns with validating your conformance or the conformance of your product with the requirements of the relevant standard. And then all products manufactured in Nigeria are expected to be certified to the mandatory conformity assessment program. And that's the logo you get as evidence of compliance and quality assurance. Now, I think we should find this very, very interesting. If you want to export to Britain, is it difficult in terms of standardization? No. Because we are there to give you the support. And how are we doing it? We are members through Nigeria's membership of WTO. We are there responsible for coordinating non-tariff barriers, technical barriers to trade. So we hold that secretariat and we see to it under the WTO. The Commonwealth Standards Network, of course, is, involves all the countries under the Commonwealth. And so we are there to also maintain our national position. I talked about the ISO. We also have the IEC, the ITU, which are responsible for electricals and telecommunication components. And then under the Nigeria United Kingdom Economic Development Forum, we're also there collaborating with the BIS and the Commonwealth Standards Network to ensure that we are all on the same page. And so all these are meant to remove whatever technical barrier that you may be experiencing while trading with Britain. And then in terms of meeting their requirements, we have specific service which we call the product type. So if you have a client or a request from Britain that has given you a specific standards or requirement to produce to, we are there to give that certification, authenticating that indeed what you have produced meets that requirement, so that when you now export it and they carry out those parallel assessments, it's going to meet it without dispute. And so we have other services. The Standard Organization of Nigeria Conformity Assessment Program is for those who want to import imported products. It also covers the importation of your processing materials and equipment. But when we are aware that you are an entrepreneur, you get access to import permit that helps you to bring in those equipment. I've spoken about the Metrology Institute, and then we also offer quality management system certifications for all types of ISO standards. Then we also have our training services, which provide support. If you want specific training in terms of quality assurance, quality control, this service attends to that. Now, do we have special considerations for the MSMEs? Yes. I'm pleased to inform you, I'm actually the head of the small and medium enterprise desk. So I work with SMEs a lot. So whatever challenge you have, you talk to me and we'll be able to sit down and work it out. And so that's how we support. We ensure now that MSMEs must be involved in standards development, because that is where the basic is. What you don't know does not apply. So if you have standards requests, products that we don't have standards, we sit down and we develop the standards together for you to comply. We offer services that are subsidized, especially for nano, micro, small, and medium enterprises. So you want to do certifications, subsidized. You want to buy standards, subsidized. Laboratory testing, subsidized. And I spoke about your import permit if you want to bring in your equipment. So for MSMEs development, we do awareness programs to create knowledge about standards, certification, and support that we do. We work with other business membership organizations. I'm going to be adding the Nigeria-British Chamber of Commerce to my list. I'll remove the ETC there and add the Nigerian-British. So business facilitation to promote products with certification. Yes, this specifically, if you look at the current national policy on MSMEs, you are now seeing that there is a requirement that says that certified products will be eligible for granting of loans and all that. And that is because it's been proven that when you apply standards to your processes, you are going to be saving costs, you are going to be assured of sales of your products, you are going to be meeting the needs of your consumers, wastage will be reduced, the list is just endless. And so standards and certification is the way to go. Yes, so this is our ease of doing business activities that we are doing. We've been ranked by the almighty PEBEC on ease of doing business. So we've been ranked in 2020 and 2021 as the best agency in Nigeria that is offering services that are aimed to ease doing business in Nigeria. Thank you for the applause. And so we have made a commitment to produce your certification within 60 days if your products comply with the requirements and you are very cooperative. And so that is the number that we have so far. Yes, because I said so, because it is not automatic. It is not automatic. Remember I told you that beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. So our procedures are very much on our website. We have international accreditation for some management system certification. And then our training service, for example, NBCC can also convene special training courses, HACCP, Halal, quality assurance control, and any other training, specifically quality management system. Our training team will come in to offer that service for you. So this is our communication strategy. I'll be giving out my personal number, which is also on the website. So you can reach us through these channels, and we also try to talk to Nigeria about standards and you through NTA, 6:30 p.m. on Mondays. So I join you to join that program. So we continue to do workshops, seminars, sensitization at every level, including coming to business associations to educate them. So I've spoken extensively about your role as an MSME, nothing more than involvement in standards development. Otherwise, it amounts to what they say, barbing your hair behind your back. If you don't make input into the standard, the moment it is published, you don't have any other action than to comply within the framework of his lifespan. And it's about 5 years before it goes for review. So when you are saying, oh, son don't have standards, you did not make standards. So you can make standards the best way, any way, whatever way you want to do it, how you want it, is there for you to do. It's you who will determine what the standard for this product should be, not son. We only serve as your secretariat, to guide you through the process so that it aligns with global best practice. So you take the bold step to approach us and make requests for your standards, and then we'll sit down together and discuss it and call other relevant stakeholders to make their contribution. I've spoken about the test, how to contact. I've spoken about that. I'll give you my number. And my conclusion is this: maintain a zero tolerance to production of substandard products in Nigeria. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Engineer Fabian Arumeme. Thank you, ma'am. So very quickly, we'll go to our Q&A session. I'm sure, ma? Please come and sit here. I'm sure everyone seated here is ready for us today. Thank you for the presentation, and our GDP and 90% to the manufacturing sector. However, you agree with me that this industry or group of people, this sector, really still face diverse challenges. So I'll be asking the first question, which will go to NAFDAC. Could you educate us better on NAFDAC involvement to ease these bottlenecks during registration? Please, can I have another mic, please? Thank you. NAFDAC.
Okay. Am I communicating? Can you hear me?
No, not yet. Can you put it on?
It's on.
Oh, it's on. Maybe raise your voice.
You cannot be sure whether this mic is for us here or for somebody else. All right. I think I'm getting... Okay. NAFDAC has done a lot recognizing the importance of MSMEs. The agency has, first of all, we have what they call the Small Business Support Desk that is domiciled in the Registration and Regulatory Affairs. Wherever they go, wherever we hear events are holding, that team mobilizes and gets there. We have a lot of support materials to give to MSMEs to promote their business and to encourage them to register their products. Basically, NAFDAC is a regulator. What we do is to empower you to build quality products. Once your products are of the right quality, you'll not have difficulty selling or making business. So, but quality is not cheap. You know, we also have minimum standards to help MSMEs so that in spite of the challenges they have, they still be able to meet those standards. Part of what we do is also to innovate and come down to the level of MSMEs. You heard me talk about one-man business. There's some level of products that we can allow you to register maybe for your immediate locality. For instance, what we call finger foods, dry finger foods, chin-chin, and things like that. They are basically generally considered as low-risk items. And for such products that are maybe sold locally, we have been able to bring down the bar to just enable them meet the basic requirements. Once we take those products and maybe run laboratory tests on them and we find out they're okay, we register them. Number 4, we've been able to bring down the cost of registration for MSME products. If you visit our website...
Let's clap to that.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
If you compare what people pay, some of you are importers of products here. You compare what people pay to register imported products compared with what we do for locally manufactured, particularly the products in the MSME category, you will agree that the prices are, the disparity is just too much. And all these are in efforts to support MSMEs. What now? Number 5. The DG set up what another thing he called assisted registration. So for places where probably Lagos is the most literate state in the whole of this country, we hear reports that some of our states, especially up in the north, they can't speak English. We talk about call me on your phone, use your WhatsApp. They don't. You call them, it's only the phone. The phone is used for calling. That's all. And they have products they want to register. So when they come to our offices, we've trained our officers in those states to be like first responders. They bring their products. We teach them what to do, and we assist them to register those products. And then we support them so that those products will just have the minimal licensure to enable them move forward, in the business. The idea is that when we support them, when we promote them, they will be able to build capacity. You go from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3. Then I've just forgotten that one.
6 or 7.
Okay. So there's quite a whole lot.
Yeah.
You remember, is it last year, 2 years ago, at the inception of the COVID, the DG rolled out what she called palliative measures.
Yes.
So 0 tariff for the first 100 people that registered they had put up the application on NAPAMS. I never knew that MSMEs are very smart. We had a bunch of applications that up to now we are yet to recover from it. But that was good. It showed people's willingness to move their business, moving forward. And NAFDAC has been at the forefront trying to support them to make sure that those things are happening. So that's just about a few.
Thank you so much, sir. It is a privilege to be a moderator, so I had to ask my first question. Now over to the audience. Any question from the audience? So we have LSC, TF here, we have NAFDAC, we have SON. There's someone here in front.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, my name is James Adiago. I'm a partner with Ernst & Young, but also I'm also an MSME person because sooner or later I will leave the firm, so I need to be doing something. So, Madam S.O.N., thank you for that wonderful presentation. I'm sorry for that. So, one of the issues we're facing as MSMEs of late is what we talked about, that gauging the weight of the product that is coming to us, that are input into our own production. Of late, I've just observed, just looking at some of the things I do, some of the input I have, that the size of the bag have reduced. So one time I told my farm manager, please, let's put this thing on a weighing scale. And what should be 25? We now got like 21, 22, 22.5. And I looked at such company producing that, they are big companies. So first thing I do was to check around the bag if there is any SON approval. None. So my question is, for those people that are already producing and those their products are going into what becomes input into us, the upcomings, is there a way that they can be mandated? The SON should be with them, will be after they are healed, looking at what they are doing. You talked about when you give SON approval, you don't leave it at that point. You still go ahead to do evaluation, monitoring. Those people, are they being monitored? Because one of the things they are doing for us as MSMEs people is that they are increasing our cost of production. Because there are certain number of bags of feed that the chicken must take in a day. For them to give me the number of egg that I've envisaged I'm going to have.
Absolutely.
And I've done my cash flow, you know, as an accountant. I've done my cash flow,
Absolutely.
I've done everything. I've even zeroed my eyes on what the cost will be. But I need to give, because of this wrong weighing in their product that they are sending to us, I need to do more. I need to pay more. At the end of the month, when I now do my account and find out that does it really worth it, I have a lot of people that are investing millions of naira into this type of business that just sold off and left. So is there any way that your organization can get, I don't want to mention them here, but these are big names that are producing input, a product that becomes input into us. They are discouraging us, they are making us to see that I think it's better I go and look for another thing to do. So how does the organization come into that? And secondly, thank you for that, your presentation. I want to know how we MSMEs can really be of real help to what your organization does. I had somebody talking somewhere yesterday that, okay, he came to your organization, was saying he was looking for a loan, and he was told that, oh, there's no loan per se, but you have grant. And the person said he got grant. So when you are showing the other time you have loan, you have equity, and you have grant, I'm like, on that grant, I will engage you. Because if the people giving me input into what I'm doing are already increasing my cost, I'll need grant. She put it there is no repayment, there is no risk, that's how we need it. So how do we launch on that? Thank you. On a lifetime.
All right, so I knew there was a risk of putting that grant on that side. I knew it. I just knew it. Okay, so just to answer quickly, so with regards to grants, yes, we do give loans. That's actually our flagship. But with regards to grants, it depends on the partnership that we have. So the current one we have is with the World Bank. So it's actually a federal program, the CARES program, and LSCTF is implementing for Lagos State. And so it's for businesses that have been affected by COVID-19. So if you can prove that your business has been affected by the pandemic, then you can access that grant. And it's in 3 forms. So you can get the grant for credits, so credit grants. So that goes towards paying down your outstanding loans in financial institutions, performing loans specifically. in financial institutions. Then we have the operations grant as well, where we would fund at least 1 month of your operations. And then the last one is the IT enhancement grant. So if there's any form of IT, software, or whatever it is, we find there's a lot of schools that actually apply for those, whatever software that you need to get and you're unable to afford it because of the pandemic affecting your bottom line, then we would be able to step in there. So that at the moment, that is the only grants that we have. We just rounded off the MSME recovery grants. So we had the 1.0 during the NSAS protest for businesses that were affected during that. Then we had the 2.0, which just finished, which again was also for businesses affected by COVID-19. For that one, we've disbursed to over 2,000 businesses. For that, I know we still have another 800, so please, for the people that would like to partner with me, yes, how do we partner? How do we partner to fund the remaining 800? So that's just in terms of grants, that's what we have available. But if you do check on our website, you follow us on social media, I know that going into 2023, we do have a few conversations on how we can have more grants available.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your question. I'm even amazed that you put the standard question before the finance. Yes. Okay, so I find your question very, very interesting. We don't know how much we lose in Nigeria in terms of weight or measurements. And you can equate it as an economic sabotage. If you want to know how much that measurement costs, if you can do like figures, like dropping 1 naira every day, and you find out how much it becomes in some years ahead. That's the same thing that happens to under declaration of weight. And we take it very, very seriously. I will answer the question in 2 prongs. The first one is, that company you said has no certification. It cannot happen with a company with certification in the first place. And if your company has certification, you wouldn't use that product the way it is, because you would have been very much aware about your rights. If, however, you are constrained, you must patronize that particular product, you have rights of claims. We have a customer feedback and collaboration unit that is responsible for issues like that. And you can access it on our website. You give us the details about that company, the product, their location, and all. If the products are being imported, at the moment we are not at the port, so we are unable to see everything that is coming in, even though the federal government has now seen that need and as a missing gap, and they have filled it by way of approval. So shortly we'll be kicking off and we'll be at the ports to manage such information. However, what are your rights? Now you compare the peculiarities of our environment with what happens in Britain. If that was to happen in Britain, that company by now would have been shut down, either by way of integrity or compelled by litigation to do so, and they will not produce. And you keep buying, you know they're underweight, you went back, you buy. Oh yes, but it is part of your rights to, you are entitled to quality service. And so we would like to have the details of that company and we'll take it up from there. And it applies to every one of us as well. Whatever it is that you purchase, we have 2 ways we look at substandard product. It could be fake, it could be substandard. Substandard means it could be certified, and then somehow, for some reasons, maybe machine calibration, they drop by that benchmark. But it's also not an excuse, because when we take you through the sterilization process, calibration, like I mentioned, is one of the critical areas we also look at, to be sure that whatever it is your weight declaration. is put out there must be is and as it is. So please file in, and then we'll take it up from there. Claims, you are entitled to claims, you are entitled to refund, you are entitled to replacement. That is what you do when you are aware of your rights in terms of quality and standards. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Hope that answers your question. Thank you. Any other question?
Thank you so much. Anyway, I'm sure you can hear me. It's for you, ma'am, and you, sir. You know, when it comes to what's the word you use? Monitoring, yes. You find that what you project as an organization is unfriendly or not very warm. I do love MSMEs, right? And there's always this fear. SON is coming. NAFTA is on the way. It's like the end of the world, you know? So I think that people can like shrink back because they're worried. What I'm hearing today is different. You know, your approach, I think, awareness, communication, if it's refined a bit or tailed down a bit, so people understand that if they can use things rightly, affordably, they're more willing to do it. But when there's this looming fear about NAFTA or SON, then they're already discouraged. The next thing to do, they resort to flexibility. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't know what steps are you taking, if any, to address that. Thank you. Yeah.
Hello. Thank you, Madam, for your question. You know, in time past, when SON comes to your factory and you are not in compliance, we will shut you down. We still do if what you are producing is categorized as life endangering and high risk. We don't consider at that point that you are an employer of labor. Well, we look at you as a destroyer of human life. Yes, and it's a carrot and stick approach that we're applying. So over the years, having observed that people were hiding, producing under, you know, clandestine circumstances, they still do. We don't know who and where many things are being produced. Even though neighbors know, they don't come forward to report because of my neighbor. They go come now, lock her up, and I no go get work. No. It goes beyond that. It's issues of life and death. You know, sometimes I wonder how we do it, because you look at your business partners and just a spoon of whatever they take, everybody is crashing to the hospital. Unlike how it happens here. And we take it for granted. But these are what the federal government is trying to address through these institutions. And so what did we do over the years? We reviewed. And that is why I presented that 2 years consecutively, we are having the first position on ease of doing business. And in doing that ease of doing business ranking, it's a critical process. We were taking through several processes to ensure that we are more open, we are more relaxed, and that's how we have been trained now. And that is the approach that we are using. And we are beginning to see an increase in the number of people who are coming up to come and ask for help. And then, rather than use the policing approach, we are now using the business facilitator approach. And in also answering that question, you will observe that in the developed countries, Nigeria is developed anyway. You know, they will tell you that standards is voluntary. But here it is mandatory. Compliance to standards is mandatory. And in working with development partners, they keep asking us, oh, standards are meant to be voluntary. But I've been in the organization for over 20 years. And I do know that even as standards are voluntary on the other side, you are expected to use standards. You are expected to validate your quality. True or false? I've not gone to Britain before. Maybe through this chamber I'll do that. Yes, but we interact very well with them. We know what is happening out there. So why do we come here and do the opposite of what happens on the other side? And so that is where the issue of the policing came up with. But at the same time, even as standards are voluntary on that side, can you load anything on a container and just walk into that country? They will bounce it. Yes, so those are the differences. But you find people can go anywhere in the world and bring anything, and somehow they still get them into the country. And consumers are aware and they keep consuming. And so you find that we had no choice than to be policing rather than business enablers. But like I said, we wear two colors of a dress. I can turn my coat and it will be on the other side if it is time to protect the lives of Nigerians. But ultimately, our job under the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment is to do what? Provide support for ease of manufacture, ease of trading, and ease of investment. And the investment is what? To create that confidence on your partners. Because if they are aware that standards are not properly applied in a country, they will not come and invest. Because one, their finances will not be, or their investment will not be assured. They know that they cannot compete on the same plane with anybody. They cannot invest costs that is expected by the consumer. And so it goes on and on and on like that. I hope I've been able to address your question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
I'm sure that covers NAFDAC as well.
We have brothers and sisters.
They have moved from policing, I like that, to business facilitator and enabler.
Yes.
I have two quick questions to the brother and sister. The African Free Continental Trade Agreement is a new thing now that is trying to galvanize trade amongst the African countries, and Nigeria is a signatory already. So what are we doing? Because this is a new baby, yes. And MSMEs, as we have heard, will need to play a stronger role to make this come to fruition. So are you, both of you, either individually or both organizations, what are you doing to try and make sure that MSMEs really benefit from this? Otherwise, it will be at the tail end, and that's not good. This is one great initiative I think will help us. Number two, for NAFDAC, I know that you talked about NAPAMS, which is great initiative, very great initiative. But I still hear, when I talk to my MSME colleagues, that we still use consultants. So what's the role of consultants now that we have NAPAMS? Those are my two questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. What's the role of consultant and that we have NAPAMS?
Okay. Talking about Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, we are aware that it took us some time, to get into that. And the reason has always been very simple. It will end up shortchanging us as a country. Because free trade is all about what you bring to the market, what you bring to the table. It will end up getting our market. In the whole of West Africa, we all know that we are half of the consuming market. And so government has been a little bit conscious and trying to build capacity to ensure that when we get into this, we will not lose. And that's why it came long. It's just recently it's been signed in. And all government agencies, including NAFDAC, have been mandated to build capacity to ensure that we maximize that opportunity for our MSMEs. What we do in NAFDAC presently is to train and empower our people. We cannot give them money, but we can give them knowledge, and we can train them on how to produce products that can also come to the table. And so that's what we're doing presently. If you notice NAFDAC presence in the social media, on YouTube, on NTA, every week we have NAFDAC and Your Health. All those programs are actually put out there to encourage small and medium enterprises. My colleague talked about nano. I love that. I've been processing it in my head. You know, nano, small, micro. When we had micro, I was very happy. I didn't know we still go further to nano. You know, so what we do is to help them build capacity. So whatever they bring to the table is worth negotiating for. And so that's how much NAFDAC is. We have a desk in Registration and Regulatory Affairs Directorate that is actually working on the free trade, African free trade, continental free trade agreement to ensure that we don't get shortchanged, because basically what happens at the end of the day, we get shortchanged. So we're working seriously on that. Talking about consultants, for us to be here, for instance, like I told you, for about 10 years, I sat on e-registration. We built the system up. Just recently, DG asked me to go to another place to go work on it. It's not easy to move NAFDAC officers because we are few on ground and we are overworked. So for us to be here is just a token to show that NAFDAC wants to reach out to the industry as much as possible. Number one, to educate them so that when you have the knowledge, you'll be able to know what to do. To support them, to show them how to go about it so that they'll be able to do it right and do it well and then gain. If our industry is doing well, you will have less scandals and we have less problem for NAFDAC. We remember some time ago when we had issue of Apple. Apple was a contaminated apple and everybody was, where is NAFDAC? NAFDAC does not regulate Apple. That is, we don't register them. They are food. But because Apple, when you buy in the market, is not prepackaged, it's not labeled, it's not going to any further processing. If we are going to have to regulate everything, then I'm sure you know that we know the consequence. We will not be able to do as much. So these are the issues that we do. So talking about consultants, sir, NAFDAC has encouraged people to walk up to us, walk into our office, or visit our sites online, send us an email. We will guide you. Visit our website. Our website is very robust presently. Download our guidelines and you can do it yourself. We have the Servicom desk where people send information requests to us and we attend to them. If you have to engage a consultant at all, you should engage the people that know what they are doing. Part of the problem, like somebody was asking about scaring NAFDAC, it was those people that pose as consultants that come back and say, if you go to NAFDAC, they will do this. They did that to their own advantage. Because once you are scared, it's like, everybody is scared about everything government. Police, police have to put a notice that police is your friend. You know, it shouldn't be like that. But that is what we are seeing. So, but NAFDAC has said you can walk up to us and we will work with you. We can support you. We can help you. So, but a lot of people are still engaging consultants. They do that at their own risk, but they still do. But when you come up to us and you say, I want to do this, we'll be able to give you free advice. We'll be able to engage you. We visit your site. We, give you guidance to make sure that whatever you do, at the end of the day, you can guarantee on the quality. So that's what NAFDAC has done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that your question, sir. So, what SON is doing on the African Continental Free Trade Area, we are aware that trade agreement is quite focused on MSME's development. And as we are all aware, there is already a clause in that agreement that is addressing standards, certification, and regulation. And so what we have done first as responsiveness was we've started developing our national standardization strategy. And that document is meant to establish a program for standards development within 3 years. It's undergoing review now. I will also, again, request my colleague to share a copy with you, the chamber, so that you can include all your standardization needs. Products you know you are transacting with Europe, and you have checked we don't have those standards. You list them, and then we'll put them on our program for standardization. So also based on that clause as our responsiveness, we are currently very, very involved in harmonization of standards in the African region, coordinated by the African Organization for Standardization. We are a member of that association, organ, which is a body of the African Union. So they are the ones that are coordinating matters about standards harmonization in Africa and certification. So when we talk about standards harmonization, what are we saying? We are saying for every product that is going to be traded in Africa, as induced by the African Continental Free Trade Area, there is now going to be only one standard for every product. So the 55 countries in Africa, there will only be one standard. So if you are talking about standard for yogurt, there will be only one standard. And that's where the competition is going to come, because that's where Nigerians need to put their feet on the ground and quickly work to make sure that they step up to meet those requirements. So when those standards are harmonized, you now merely do what? You adopt them as Nigerian Industrial Standards, Ghana Standards, Cote d'Ivoire, name them, but the requirements will be the same. What we're also doing is what we call mutual recognition agreements. So if you are trading between 2 countries, 3 countries, we sit down as the standards bodies and we harmonize our requirements for the standards and then certification procedures, so that whatever it is that is certified in Nigeria, automatically when it comes to that country, they recognize the certification mark and accept that product without running it through, repeated tests or other aspects of their processes to validate it. Just seeing Nigeria's certification mark, we give it that access to the country. And also, in preparedness also, if you recall my presentation, under the ease of doing business is one component we have also used to as a responsiveness, because we're anticipating an increase in demands for certification and standards. As we speak, I have over 150 officers who report to me on ease of doing business service to micro, small, and medium enterprises. And their work is nothing more than ensuring that their requests are facilitated once it comes. And so you let us know what your trading plans are, like I established before, and we'll be there to give you all the guidance. Even if you don't have the standards that country require, just tell us the name of that product that you want to trade with or you have received an order on. We have the log of all the catalogs in the whole world. And we'll be able to bring out that standard for you and produce and certify to that specific requirements. Don't forget that I told you that the Nigerian industrial standard, it is a minimum benchmark for a product to be of good quality. So, and each country's standards are different. Just like, for example, you cannot keep butter at ambient temperature in Nigeria, but you can do that in Britain. So you see, you cannot use the British standard, adopt it as what you work with, and you just carry it into your factory, you close your door, and you start producing. No. So we'll help you, run you through those processes to ensure that you comply.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I know the question was for the brother and sister, but as the cousin in Lagos, I said, let me just contribute a little. So at LSCTF, we actually have a business support arm where we support businesses with the adequate knowledge that they need for them to be able to grow. And so a lot of the conversation recently for us, since the inception of this, has been around AFTA and how to get our SMEs, not even the micro and then nano, micro, small and medium businesses to grow from where they are to the point where they are able to export. Again, like I said before, our goal is to create jobs. So if you can export, you can hire more people to expand. So we do that through a variety of things, through master classes. We also have partnerships with the likes of quite a number of organizations. So I'm hoping that before we finish today, I would establish partnerships with my brother and sister here. So that we can also, because what we do in our master classes, we have the virtual ones and then we have the grassroots ones where we take it to the market. We take it to, to the grassroots, right? Where at this point, all my phone goes out of the door and all the pidgin I know has to come into play, plus the small Yoruba that I know in certain markets, right? And so that is our way of contributing to this, to say, how do we get this information, break it down to the smallest bit so that an average market woman can understand that today she's selling pepper, tomorrow she can own a farm, so the next day she can be exporting dried, pepper, right? And so it's very important. And I remember when she was asking the question around, the fear of NAFDAC, so we get that a lot. I had one beneficiary that came and said, I finally have my NAFDAC, what can you people do for me? And I laughed, right? Because to be honest, if you communicate with NAFDAC, if you communicate with SON, you are fine. The problem is when you choose not to communicate. That's where the problem is. So that's what we do at LSCTF, just to contribute towards that in terms of working with the likes of NAFDAC, working with the likes of SON, and just saying, how do we get more businesses and how do we break the information down for the average market woman to understand that she too can export.
Thank you so much. Very key point for MSMEs. Communication. Communicate. The next question, please. Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm Larry Johnson, and I'm the MD of ERP Software. So my question, and I'll ask it before I explain what we do, revolves around what you just responded to complement what they said and the partnerships and what the LSCTF LSETF, what the LSETF does. In terms of how you support the MSMEs, do you engage with them in aspects around making sure they're compliant in terms of how their businesses are structured, to have the processes and the right tools in place? And that usually would revolve, since they're looking for loans, having a clear view of their financials and ensuring that they're compliant and tracking. So do you get involved in that? Okay, so then that brings up what we do as a company is we implement systems, ERP systems, enterprise resource planning, and basically it's a suite of business applications to help you manage or to make your processes, and then you can report on aspects of your business, whether it's to see stock levels, financials, and that whole play out across the business. Then the question is, how do we take advantage of that? Because in spite of what I do, I'm still an MSME. I'm not an Ernst & Young yet, if I would say that. So what are the opportunities there, for companies like mine to work with the LSETF?
The summary, like in one line, is send an email to partnership@lsctf.ng. That's the summary. The long form is that, yes, we do have a business, like I mentioned, we have a business support arm. And so, interestingly, for a lot of businesses, especially the nano businesses, when they come to us most times, they are not registered, they don't have CAC, it's just somebody that has been doing her business, running her, if she has an account or he has an account, thank God for that. If not, we then encourage them, go create an account, right? And that's why we start from 50,000 Naira as the smallest loan that we do. That for us is just an entry point. We understand that sometimes they may need more than that, but it's like you need to have these things in place. So we have partnerships with the likes of CAC to ensure that, you have registered business. We just rolled out one with one of our legal partners where we subsidize CAC registrations for a lot of our nano beneficiaries, right? So we are very much involved in the growth of the businesses that come to us. So as part of that, as they grow, we also let them know of the opportunities that are there. And we let them know, like, look, you are here, but you have the opportunity to be here. This is what you need to do to get there. And to establish that, we partner with a variety of organizations. So from HR companies to legal companies to even other agencies. And so even your company as well, we can partner to say, this is where, these are the things that you need. Looking into 2023, part of the things that we're also doing, which we've actually started, but we're in a pilot phase, is really more around investment readiness and getting more of these SMEs ready for investors. By next year, we are hoping that we can have, events where we can actually bring these businesses and bring potential investors into a particular room. But we would have done the work in getting them ready to that point, right? So there is a lot of ways that we can partner. So if you just send an email to partnership@lsctf.ng, we'll definitely, I will receive the email, don't worry. So we will definitely love to partner with your organization.
Thank you so much, Ma, for the answer. Just one more question. Is here? Hello. Our Honorable.
Yes, Ria Telly, Deputy President. I want to, it's not time yet for the vote of thanks, so Dr. Joe and I will do that eventually. But what I'll say is that, a lot of benefit resides in this room. And I like the openness of the speakers. It's opening that arm of fellowship and saying, hey, come meet us, and we're ready to support you. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
I just want you to, a little bit, share with us, even if you can't give a lot of details, how you how you regulate the regulator, how you monitor the monitor. Some of your operatives on the field who go and inspect, sometimes they uncover some of these infractions. And when they do, run us through the process and give us an idea of how they are brought to book in the event that they do not follow your lofty goals and standards, because that's one way of reassuring the market that, yes, you are safe. One of the reasons people don't whistleblow is that they have this fear that if I do that, word will get back to the offenders that I did, and then I'll be in trouble. And so we just want to have an idea of how this happens within your systems. Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Mr. Riateli.
Just very simple. So for LSETF, we have a whistleblowing policy and a whistleblowing program that's managed by KPMG that has nothing to do with us as an organization. And yes, I do hear you. That's actually because, for instance, we are across the different local governments and LCDAs in Lagos State. And so you have liaison officers that are on the field. And we've had situations, because I also oversee communications, we've had situations where we have radio, we have a weekly radio slot, and people would call and say, somebody was asking me for money to apply, right? And so what we would do is investigate that, straight to the local government, who is that liaison officer, and the necessary things are done. But when people are not that audacious to come up and say this is what is happening, we do have a whistleblowing policy in place, which the details are at every liaison officers, is at our website and all that, and then the audit team, the internal audit team, they're responsible for going through that and then making sure that things are done. So that's what we've done, just having that independence in terms of whistleblowing. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, it is true that when you have an environment where people, there's a possibility of money changing hands to change values, such things are very rife. We also know that in government, we have a policy on discipline. In NAFDAC, we have what they call the disciplinary committee. And must have done that. We have a disciplinary committee that sits on all cases, and the cases are investigated fully and effectively. We have a detachment of the police also working along with us when it comes to investigation. So, but in terms of capacity building, what we do in NAFDAC is that we don't send one person to go do inspection. We go as a team, so there's this check and balance. And then when we have cases, allegations, or reports of corruption and so forth, we have a policy in government, in NAFDAC also, that investigates, and we have stipulations of the kind of disciplinary measures that are put in place. Presently, we have a DG who has zero tolerance for corruption. I'm aware of one or two, or a couple of our officers who have been dismissed or who have been suspended based on corruption, bribery, and so forth. It's on record, and it's an internal thing, and that's why you will not come and hear it in the public, but it's in place and is actually being implemented. So we can be rest assured that NAFDAC is also doing that. We have a DG who does not want to hear such things and close her eyes to it. She follows them up and makes sure that justice is done. So that is in place in NAFDAC also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your question. I also appreciate you for that. Misbehaviors are not tolerated in any establishment, even in the home. And so it applies as civil public servants, there is first the public service rule, which guides our operations. And then we have internal standard operating procedures that guides our activities outside the office. And for officers who go out, we have badges which they must wear. So you have access to their names and their numbers. So officers who go out are certified. They don't just dress and go. And then we have 52 offices across the country now, 9 regional offices headed by directors, and 43 state offices. So either of these offices, you can lay your complaint if you experience such. Once the narrative of your discussion with them begin to deviate from standards, then you know what to do. You can file in a complaint through our complaint channel I discussed about earlier. It's on our platform. And I want to say, for example, if it comes to certification or all of our processes, it's an impartial process. Because remember, the work we do is technical. If your product is not complying, take it to anywhere in the world, it won't comply. So it will be to your detriment if you try to encourage such practice, trying to influence reports, trying to influence. I want to tell you that even the certification process is an impartial process, in the sense that the person who went for inspection is not involved in the testing process. Neither is he involved in the concluding part, which is the certification. So if you give anybody money at the inspection stage, you have not achieved anything. Because by the time your product is moving to the laboratory, it becomes nameless. And when it gets to the certification stage, it's also nameless. It's all after it has passed the exam that everybody knows the name. And that's why when a product has certification, we celebrate it like a new baby, because we know that it has gone through the due process. And so that is how we handle such cases. Of course, at the end of the tunnel for such practice is prosecution and dismissal from the Federal Civil Service. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So that has, we've come to the end of the first session, question and answers. Thank you very much, Ms. and sir, for the beautiful presentation and answers to our question. So we'll be introducing our speakers for the next session. And I'll start with our highly performance entrepreneur. The high performance entrepreneur. Her name is Dr. Ebere Njoku, high performance coach. So we are here today. It is going to be a coach day. And the topic is why it is about you. Please welcome with me Dr. Ebere Njoku, high performance coach. Thank you, ma'am. Have you seat, ma'am?
Oh, seat first.
Yeah, go ahead and sit. Then also, I'll be introducing our second speaker for today. For this second session, Mr. Olukayode Piton, MD, CEO, Bank of Industry. Duly represented here by Mr. Obaro Osa. Thank you, sir. So I'll be introducing our high-performance coach now, Ebere Njoku. Ebere Njoku OD describes herself as a custodian of multiple potential and apologetic generalist, think polymath, unapologetic generalist. Think polymath. She's a keen player in healthcare and well-being. Doctor of optometry, real estate, education, personal development, and entrepreneurship. She's a certified coach, life coach, working with entrepreneurs and executives to keep them firmly in high-performance mode. Our core focus is helping people become the very best version of themselves by unleashing the full potential. She believes high performance is a mindset and seeks to propagate this in all our interactions with individuals and organizations using our diverse expressions. A severally published author, Ebere is comfortable across different genres. Her books are dramatized in conjunction with the Lagos State Ministry of Education in annual secondary school contest known as Read Terpret. She has created online courses and regularly hosts workshops for our Awesome Growth Academy. She remains entirely unapologetic about her multiple interests because she lives all of them. Please welcome with me, as she comes up with our presentation, Mrs. Ebere Njoku. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Before we start with the slides, can I just say thank you for staying back and for waiting to hear the rest of us. Many people have escaped. Maybe they didn't consider it worth their while to stay the course. So I'm hoping that the rest of us remaining, me and my colleague, will make it worth your while that you've stayed back, right? So, as she said, I'm a high-performance coach. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about high performance. It just means consistently exceeding your normal results. So you don't settle. And that high performance can be, carried into different sectors of life. It could be in your business, your career, your personal life, whatever. You just want to consistently do well. You won't have plateaus, you won't have dips. You're just doing better consistently. And you find that in maybe athletes sometimes, or celebrities, because sometimes you ask the question, this person has so much money, they've done so well already, why are they still striving? Why would they even bother? It's just that high performance mindset. So thank you. So today, the earlier speakers spoke a lot about what you see on the outside as a business owner. All the things you have to go through, the documentation, the loans, the grants, the begging for this, begging for that, the struggling for this, struggling for that. But what they didn't address, which is what I hope to address, is the soft bit of it, behind the scenes. What role do you play as the owner of the enterprise, of the business, in the success of your business? Right. So before I start any session, I always set an intention. So I could ask you, what's your intention for coming here today? Is it to network? Is it to hear people speak? Is it to actually grow? Because when you set an intention, it kind of sets your mind in the right direction. So you look out for that thing you set your intention for. When I have meetings, I don't say, what's the agenda? I say, what's the intention? So today, my intention for all of us here is to examine our businesses. Today, you'll be the doctor of your own business, right? Can we move the slides, please? So you're going to do a routine check. You know how you go to a hospital and nothing is quite wrong, not really. But you say, okay, I'm here for a routine check. Then the doctor says, okay, fine, how are your eyes? Let's check your teeth, let's check your tummy, let's check your this, that. And they begin to find areas that need a bit of work. And they'll tell you what to do about those areas. Now, if you have paper and pen, please just whip them out. You're going to need them. You're going to need them. Excellent. All right. So MSME or not, we are all entrepreneurs. And some people make the difference or the distinction between an entrepreneur and an MSME operator. But I'm here to say that entrepreneurship is just a mindset. It is a mindset. You are looking for opportunities. You're curating opportunities and making something out of them. whether you're in a business for yourself or even in 9-to-5 employment. You are thinking about how you can do things differently and better, taking some risks, coming up with ideas to move your company or your business forward. So shout out to everybody who's an MSc in Nigeria. The terrain worldwide is so bad. Bring it down home here, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So that you're all above water, you're all even standing, I'd say give yourself a round of applause. I think it's so well deserved. It's so well deserved. Nobody can take that away from you. The fact that you're still here doing business in Nigeria of today. You know, I shudder when it's time for school fees for my kids abroad, age 50, for £1. They don't care over there. They don't care. Fact is, fees must be paid. Fact is, for the same all of us, life must be lived. And the business terrain is so uncertain. It's so uncertain. You can't count on anything. So I say to you, traditional is synonymous with uncertainty. You know why? Because things will change. That thing they teach you in business school, SWOT analysis, today it could be a strength, tomorrow it could be a weakness. It will change. Today it could be an opportunity, and everybody just dives in. In no time, the policy or the politics or even the climate will change. It becomes a threat. What do you do? What do you do? So it's important to build yourself up. That's the role you play in your business. So like I said to you, my intention is to make you aware of the role you play in your business, how you communicate that role, and how you execute it. That will guide you into getting the loans from Obaro, Mr. Obaro. So when you go to speak to them, you're confident. You know exactly what you're talking about. So we'll start. Change is here, it's not going anywhere. Change is not going anywhere. You'll keep changing. We had barely gotten through COVID. Next thing, it was the war in Ukraine. Did anybody see it coming? You cannot predict a war. You might, lightly say it's possible that the aggression in Russia and Ukraine, blah, 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 but you cannot say for sure that Putin would react the way he did. And that has turned everything topsy-turvy. All right? So your business may be affected or not. But what's the one constant? It's you. You are the one constant. So you have to arrange yourself in a manner that you're able to weather these changes, be flexible enough to absorb them, be ready and wise and knowledgeable enough to keep on adopting and editing to suit the different circumstances that the world has today. So the reason why business is to make a profit. Are we all agreed? Is anybody here in business not to make a profit? Yeah, because if you're not here to make a profit, you can structure it to be an NGO or a charity. And you now apply for grants and loans and grants and donations and the like. There's no harm in saying, I'm not for profit. I am for profit, heavily too. So I said, please change the slides. So the truth is that as we go on, even in Nigeria, the era of mediocrity is dying down. Very soon, it will be gone. No more pretending I know what I'm doing. It's either you know or you don't. So the best thing is to strive to know. Strive to acquire knowledge for yourself, especially in your industry. See that why personal growth is so important for entrepreneurs. You are the one who grows into a role. Do you ever wonder why people that win the raffle draw? They win $5 billion. 24 months later, they're broke. Where did the money go to? They didn't even grow into that role. They knew nothing except that they won. So it's your duty to grow as an individual, to run your business. So as you grow, your business grows, and you're able to weather whatever it is. Please change the slide. Thank you. So we're going to start. The first thing you're going to do today is to get clear. If you know me, one of my favorite words is clarity. The minute you're not clear on anything, you instantly introduce confusion. It's that simple. I don't know whether I want a black bag. I don't know whether I should come for this event. I don't know whether I should not come. You're confused instantly. So get clear on what you want. And that saves you time, saves you effort, saves you money. So we want to clarify some things. The first one is your business style. Now remember we said we're doing a routine check. So please think about your business now. Inhale, everyone. Exhale. Now don't panic, this is not NAFTAC. Right? Just think about your business. What style are you running your business? As a practice or as an enterprise. Now, these little differences might not be big, but they influence many of the things that we do. I'll tell you one thing. Now, if it's a practice, some of us run our businesses like a practice, when it should be an enterprise. In a practice, it's all about the principal. It's all about them. So you put a structure around anything that makes that principal comfortable, because that practice is reliant on their expertise. Are we all right? Okay. Yeah.
But that is changing now.
Okay.
I don't need 30% increment for all my staff in the office.
Excellent.
Why do I need to dole out so much like that? I don't want them to begin to japa.
And I'm going to explain why they'll still japa. I'm going to explain that. So back to what I was saying about the practice, right? Some people are running what should be an enterprise like a practice, and vice versa. Okay. For myself now, I'm clearly running a practice. My business relies on my expertise, and I structure it as such. Therefore, I don't need this whole building. I don't need 2,000 staff. I need myself to be comfortable. I need to invest in growing myself and my mind so that I constantly deliver. Do you understand? But if I'm running my business, so my enterprise as a business, I'll have 20 other coaches. Do you understand? So there's no face. You just know the company name, and things are just going like that. So decide. So in your mind now, what are you running? If you're the bakery, for instance, you can't run the bakery based on one guy you brought from Ghana who can bake well. When he goes, Uncle, then you're like pandering to him every day. He has a headache. This is falling because the guy from Ghana has a headache. You're running like a practice. You're basing your business on the expertise of one person who's not even you, which is worse. So in a business, the whole idea of the business, an enterprise, is so that you can gain freedom. You don't have to be there. The systems in place should work, in sense of synergy, that it produces money for you, whether you're there or not. But if you insist, it's a choice, so there's no wrong or right. If you say, okay, same bakery, I'm going to run it as a practice. I'm the head baker. I have the most unusual recipes. My trade secrets are as old as time itself, right? So everybody lines up to come and see me. Do you understand? It can work for you. It depends. I say it's a choice. It's a choice. There's a lady in London, an old woman, wrinkled hands and all. She makes bread, sourdough bread. The line waiting for her is as long as from here to, because they know it's handmade, painstakingly made, and all of that. It's a practice. She has maybe one or two other staff who are just supplying her the things, So it's up to you to wait, and she's happy. Do you understand? So what do you have on the ground for yourself? Think about it. Anybody want to share with me? Practice, enterprise, anyone? The practice. Now, it's a practice, and you're comfortable it being a practice. Is it a successful practice? That's the question. So I said today is just routine. We don't have too much time to look deeply. But just think about, should my business be a practice, really, or an enterprise of sorts? Think about celebrities. You saw that thing they do? All those controversies they do on the internet? It is all about them. So all their luckies, all the followers, all the gophers are pandering to them to keep misbehaving or behaving so the public is encouraged and entertained. It's simple. I absolutely admire them, their business skill. They know what they're doing. Then all the people, do you know it's amazing? Now people dash money to people who already have money. Davido was in a Dubai mall. Some young guy sees him. Oh, wow, he's so amazed. He gives him all the money he has. Because he's a practice. His brand is what sells. So all those his staff must make sure Davido is happy. If he's not there, that's the end of everybody. So he's happy. It's a practice. So he can do that because he's a celebrity, he's a musician, he can do that and get away with it and be successful. Can you in your business? Let's move on. Okay, so you look at your offer. What are you really offering in your business? Clarify your offer. Make it clear what you're offering. Don't come and tell me I sell hats, I sell bread. That's not an offer. Qualify it. I sell bread that is guaranteed to give you nutrition, or guarantees making not to add any weight, or guarantees to keep you lactose intolerant. What are you really offering? So you're offering a person comfort. I gave that example in one meeting, I think it was the shoes.
I bought shoes from, or I buy shoes from Mona Matthews. What's that of her? Anybody? Now, Mona Matthews makes shoes. She makes shoes for people who have big feet. Not only are they people who have big feet, she makes them comfortable. So what she's selling to me is comfort. That's her offer. What is your offer? Think about it, clarify it, right? What are you really offering? And you know what the offer is? Results. That's your offer. What result are you guaranteeing? If I tell you I will work with you, and at the end of the day, you become the MD of Bank of Industry. Yes. My offer is promotion, contentment at work, growth. How can I measure that? You become the MD. That's the only way. So that offer has to be measurable and defendable, even in court. So you can sue me, you said if you I will be the MD of so. Yes. So what's your offer? Your results must guarantee your offer. Right. Your value. The value, what do you bring to the table? What does the customer want from you? You know, all this thing about us being doctor this, doctor that, it gets boring after a while. The customer wants the results I'm going to give them, not my credentials. Unless, of course, it's a practice. Then it becomes important that I tout those credentials. Otherwise, where's the confidence? Right? So, all right, so your market. Who's your market? Your buyers. That's one thing. I want us all to have a mind shift change. Just go with me. Say, I'm shifting my mind. I'm shifting my mind. So shift it. Your followers on social media are not your buyers. They are your friends, family, fans, if you like. People say, like, you post one thing, like, other one, ride on. They're not buying anything. Obsess about your customer. And who is your customer? My customer is somebody whose pain point my business solution solves. Simple. So that's why I'm Mona Matthews. This is not Mona Matthews, by the way, but her customer. Because I want comfortable shoes. My feet are big. So I'm her customer instantly. Do you understand? There's no debate there. Because she solves my problem. So how about you find who your customer is and leave all the likes, followers, ride on, God bless, my sister, my thank you. Hey, queen. The women are so funny. You know, women, we complain so much, but we just do so little to earn the respect we want. Slay queen. Please, next slide, thank you. Next slide. It's like 15 minutes or. Right, so things you have to manage. Sorry, I wouldn't run through this. Some things that we have to manage some things. The first thing is your motivation. Manage it. Nobody will do it for you. Think about what made you start the business in the first place. Your why. Was it passion? Maybe you're so passionate about this subject matter. You love the fact that you can create anything with flow, right? So you turned that to a business. Whether it's a practice or an enterprise, it's up to you, but you built it. That's your motivation. So remember that you always had the love for greens, maybe. Then another thing could be a mission. Maybe you're on a mission to solve some societal ill. Maybe some people are worried about young girls in poor areas who don't have sanitary towels. Some people are very concerned about that. So say, okay, how can we make this more affordable? How can we make it reach those people? So we produce them cheaply, get donations, and share it across. You're on a mission to solve that problem. All right? Or it could just be you saw a gap in the society, an opportunity, and you created a business from it. So manage your motivation. Always remember why you started your business. Don't forget. Then manage your time. Sand. Please. One person, rock, pebble, sand. All right, so time. If you have time in a jar, the first thing you do is if you put in rocks and try to fill that jar, there'll be some space still, right? But you might think it's full. Then when you put in some pebbles, they'll fill those little gaps the rocks did not really, uniformly fill. Then still, if you pour sand still, everything will now going to be tight. What are your rocks? The most important things you need in your business are your rocks. You have to isolate them, identify them, articulate them, and do them first. Focus your strength, your energy on your rocks. The pebbles are things that you should do, yes, but you could most of all delegate, defer, still important. Then the sand is, take it or leave it. So in your business, what are your rocks? What are the things in your value chain that make the most money or contribute to the most impact? Think about that. So finally, mastery. Mastery is one of my favorite because it's so sad that you're in a business that you know nothing about. And you don't know everything about it. That's embarrassing. You know, mastery is so important because if you're a master in your business, you can be a leader. Then you don't need to stress too much about finding a market because people will be drawn to you for your expertise. It's natural. Example, people don't know I have a medical background. They think my doctor is doctor of philosophy or something. So they come to me and they're selling supplements, health supplements. And they go on and on. It will cure your heart, your liver, your kidney. It will cure everything. And they're going on and on with conviction. And I'm saying in my mind, he's talking absolute rubbish. And he has no idea. He's talking absolute, it's terrible. So what they do is they overrate their knowledge. That's called Dunning-Kruger syndrome. It's dangerous. You know what happens? You will never get a customer. And the word will spread. So it's important. Whatever you're doing, get to know it like the back of your hand. Invest in yourself. Invest in knowledge. These days, there are coaches everywhere. You know, depending on your price points. Get one to teach you very quickly. Then finally, manage your money. I won't say much there. You and I know that the crux of the matter is money. Like I said earlier, you're not in business to make money, turn into a charity. Please, next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, so the question of value and certainty. I would like all of us to do this now, please. This is very important. Just pay attention, be with me. When you have a business or a product or a service, whatever, first thing you ask yourself is this: why would anyone need my product or my service? Why? So in other words, is it even necessary at all? Is it worth, right? Number one. Please answer that question to yourself. Answer. Why? Then, why would anyone pay for your product? It's one thing to design one lovely designer baby hat. Will anybody pay for it? Think about that, right? Then why would they buy it from you? Question one, why would anybody buy that product? So why would anybody need it? Is it needed? Two, would anybody pay money for it? Three, why would they buy it from me? Who's selling it? So that means either you practice your credentials or the business itself, the product that can speak for itself. Question four, why would they buy my own product or service? Can you see the little difference there? The difference there, why would they buy it from me? Credentials, because I'm this, I'm that, right? Why would they buy my own? My own is different. Okay. Do you want me to read it out? Okay, there's an emergency outside. I think KTU 653HP is a Camry, muscle gray. Are you here? If you're here, please, I think that you're needed urgently outside. Okay, so that's the difference there. Then why would they buy it at your price? That for me is a big one. Doctor, why should I pay all that money? Why should I pay you $1 million for coaching? For what? How much is land? You know, then I begin to tell you why. I can articulate why. And at the end of the day, I can defend it. So do that for yourself. Then why would they buy it now? Is there any urgency? Hey, it's Christmas, so. So you must create all these things for yourself. If you can type it off or copy it or snap it, just take this away. If you take nothing else away today. Please, next slide. All right, so this is the last one, I think. So the tools you need to have a growth mindset. Please, it is critical. Do not put yourself in a box. This is how we do it. This is how I know it. This is what my coach said. See coaches there, they just project what they think on you. A good coach, I'll give you a tip for free. A good coach gives you an accurate view of your current circumstances or your current realities. It's not about the coach, it's about you. So nobody said, you do it for yourself, have a growth mindset. Don't be flexible, don't be fixed. Then infrastructure. When you hear that, you always think about things like buildings. No. It could be systems, it could be people that support you. Because sometimes motivation is not enough. I'm going to eat only cabbage tomorrow. But you go to the fridge, there's no cabbage. Okay, go out and buy me. The market is 100 miles away. So there's nothing to support that, your motivation. So set it up. If you need a coach, get one. If you need friends to call you every morning, get one. If you need partners, get them. So set up infrastructure that helps you. Then adjunct capabilities. In this time and age, this is so critical. You can't just do one thing and say, this is who I am, this is what I do. What happens when that thing is not needed anymore? Because there's so much going on with AI. Everything is getting automated. And when you're tossed out, you're wondering what on earth I'm going to do in my life now. So you have to necessarily identify your adjunct capabilities. Example, look at Bolt. Usain Bolt was one-time best runner in the world, right? Okay, good. He's not anymore. His money, his payments will finish one day. But guess what? When he was doing that thing, he must have learned one or two things about fitness, which he can bring to bear and teach fitness. Learned about team play. Learned about sports and law from signing documents. Learned about endorsements. So many things that you learn around your career to support you when you don't need it. Like surgeons who do complex surgeries, when they break their finger, it's all over. But if they had learned something, they could write a book. They could teach. Do you understand? So learn what your adjunct capabilities are and try to apply them when you need to. You need confidence. Like I said when I started, in this country, to do any business here, you need confidence because you hear all kinds of things. You get thrown out by BOI and NAFTAC and LS. They'll throw you out of the door and so on. They'll tell you, Madam, my friend, Oga, go and get your documents right. Who are your guarantors? And nobody has, you don't have a guarantor. So you need to be confident. And with the terrain the way it is, it's difficult to do business here. People will cheat you, they'll rob you, they'll lie to you, all kinds of things. So the confidence comes from your capability, what you know you can do. Very important. The last one, is a coach. I mentioned coach earlier. A coach will save you time. A coach is a bridge. These days, just tell me, I want to do what that boy is doing. Come on, coach me, I'll pay you X amount to teach me. Summarize it, compress it, right? Then finally, courage. That argument about courage and confidence, what comes first, I'll leave it to you. The chicken or the egg. Sometimes people say you have to have courage to do it. And with the courage comes confidence, or vice versa. Or the more confident you are, the more courageous you become. Final slide, please. Okay, next one, please. Thank you. No. The next one. Right. So I think I kind of ran through this to keep to time. But did you get anything at all? Yes. I hope you did, right? Because usually my sessions are... Say again? Absolutely. I want to say about the pebble and the rock. Just two more things. Go back a bit, sorry. The pebble and the rock. There's a lady who has a restaurant, and she'll call me, Doctor, I've been so busy today. So busy. I'm tired. What are we doing? I went to the market to go and buy tomatoes. I was like, tomatoes? From morning till now? Tomatoes? Is that a rock? Tomatoes, you can send somebody. You can command them to come to you even. Supply it here.
I'm facing your brain.
My goodness, I was so upset. I was like, you can't be serious. That's not a rock. So identify your rocks. Busyness is just a series of activities that occupy time. Are they productive? Not always. In fact, hardly. Right. So, infrastructure. This is a funny one. I'm going to run out with this one. I was having a retreat. I was hosting a retreat in the Lakowe Golf Resort. So I had to hire some things from a lady that has event paraphernalia. So she just came in. Oh, I've known you for a long time. Give me a hug. She speaks Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo fluently. From the gate, she was shouting at her, the Hausa security man. And she was just going crazy. And everybody said, this one, they're all thieves, don't mind them. Go and get me that red flower vase. I don't know it. It's broken. They're all thieves. She was just going mad. I said, this one will have heart attack here, or see me. She will have a cardiac arrest. And I looked around the establishment. Chaos. How would that man who you probably just hired yesterday know where your red or orange flower vase is hidden in cupboard number 5? Everything's upside down. So infrastructure. Simplify your business. It's not always doing more or buying more. Sometimes do less. I would say ruthlessly cut out non-essentials. Cut them off. Save yourself time. You'll grow faster. If things are weighing you down, don't give me that sign. Things are weighing you down, you won't go far. So at that point, I would like everybody to rise, please. Can we all rise? Let's all rise. I'm going to apologize that this session was really fast. It's not my style at all. Can we all read together after 3? Can you see it? Yes, sir. 1, 2, 3, go. Wisdom is knowing what to do next. Skill is knowing how to do it. Virtue is actually doing it. By David Starr. So after 3, see the last one. 1, 2, 3. One more time. Thanks for listening.
Excellent. 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 That is what I call small but mighty. That was hot. Thank you so much, ma'am. Okay, we still have a Q&A, so I'm sure we all have a lot to ask. But moving on, we'll be introducing BOI now. Mr. Olukayode Piton is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Bank of Industry Limited, Nigeria's oldest and largest development finance institution. It draws from significant experience gained across various financial services sector, including banking and capital markets during his over 30-year career. Mr. Piton has pioneered several innovative transactions in Nigeria capital market and the international financial market towards the economic development of Nigeria. To date, he has led the Bank of Industry to successfully raise about $5 billion from the international market through syndications and the bond market. Piton sits on various boards, providing advisory and governance support. He's being represented here today by Mr. Obaro Osa. 10 minutes, sir.
Give me only 10 minutes. So I'm going to move as fast as I can. But let me stand on the existing protocol and thank the organizers of this program. My MD would have loved to be here, but when you work for government, there are higher authorities and powers. And so when such phones ring, you must respond to those calls. That is why he's not here. I came from Abuja early this morning, my first flight, just to be able to make this occasion. So he extends his regards, and he deeply regrets that he's not present here personally. I hope you will accept that apology. I have 10 minutes, so I'm going to summarize the paper. My name is Obaro Osa. I am the divisional head, SME South of Bank of Industry. So I work in one of the 3 major business divisions in Bank of Industry. BOI is the oldest DFI in Nigeria. We were established in 1959. We are owned by the federal government through the Ministry of Finance and the CBN. And we are also an MDA under the Ministry of Trade and Investment. So SON, NAFDAC, all the agencies, we're together under, yes, we are cousins and brothers and sisters. So our topic is on MSMEs and financing. And you can't do justice to this topic without looking at the background and the role of MSMEs in this space in Nigeria, and in fact, worldwide. So globally, MSMEs contribute so much to the socio-economic development of any country, including Nigeria. According to the World Bank, MSMEs represent about 96% of businesses and generate more than 76.5% of employment opportunities. So most businesses in Nigeria and across the world, they're actually MSMEs. That is why no government can afford to close their eyes to the survival, the growth, the well-being of MSMEs in any place where you have a governance in place. In fact, now there's a nano part which now moves it below the MSMEs. So if you look at the small n, and M, and S, and M, and E, and of course the large enterprises. So the way we are structured, we have provisions for these three categories. The nano micro has a directorate. The SMEs has a directorate. The large corporate has a directorate. So we have 3 executive directors running businesses in Bank of Industry, supervised by MD, whose profile you've read some minutes back. MSMEs in Nigeria contribute significantly to the Nigerian economy. Between 10 to 15% of manufacturing output, 76.5% of national employment, over 50% of GDP, and of course about 8% in export. SMIDA reports that about 41.5 million MSMEs in Nigeria. So, for this kind of volume and this size, you will know that no government can afford not to consider the growth and development of MSME anywhere you are. So both at local government level, at state level, at federal government level, at community levels, at household levels, there should be a deliberate focus to develop ourselves, because we are MSMEs. As a person, you are an MSME. So if you are developed, you are skilled, you can start a business and employ 1 or 2 persons. That's an MSME. If your business grows, you can expand that. So I like your definition. Is it a profession, a practice, or an enterprise? I prefer enterprise for several reasons. So clearly in Nigeria, the MSMEs have a lot of challenges. I will highlight some. People have discussed about some, but I will highlight very few because of time. Despite their contribution, is an area that have lack of proper training. Those involved in that space, they are not properly trained. They don't have managerial skills. Unlike those working in corporate environments, where they've gone through school, they are probably trained, they are skilled, they have doctors, accountants, lawyers, who are professionals on their rights, who are now working for those organizations. For the MSMEs, the person who's set on the business is the visionary. He is the MD. He is the production officer. He is the control person. He takes all decisions. There is no control. Everything revolves around him or her. And it's a major challenge in that space. They have difficulty in sourcing quality local raw materials at well priced, because what they need is very small. You can imagine the Gary I saw outside from his saying, if UAC or Daniel Breweries goes into that business with their capacity, they can mop up the entire cassava in that belt, and they will need more. So they can demand the price. They can tell you that I will not buy more than this price. And if you don't sell to them, you're out of business. That is why the Western world, they price a commodity at very cheap rates, because we sell agro products. Primary product not produced, no value addition. So they buy your cocoa, very cheap. They buy your crude oil, very cheap. But when they process it and bring it back, you pay like times 3, times 4, times 5. And that is a major challenge for MSMEs in Nigeria. The high cost structure. We are in Victoria Island. I can imagine people in the sort of business area, MSMEs. How do you pay for rent in this neighborhood? You are not in Ikorodu. You are not in Ekpe. You are not in Mowe. How are you going to rent a place here at your MSME? So it's a challenge. Is it power? Is it the roads? Is it infrastructure? Even ability to get trained. Is it cheap to go to LBS? It's not cheap. But if you want the best or the best, you need to go through the environment for you to come out and be able to detect what happens in the marketplace. So they are very vulnerable. They have limited intellectual capacity. They don't have any copyright protection. They have high cost of real estate, particularly in urban areas like Ikoyi, Victoria Island, in Lagos generally, and some special places in Lagos. So these challenges affect them. And so apart from all this, they also have the inability to access proper financing. Because I spent part of my life in the commercial banking. So I know how it plays in the commercial bank before I joined a DFI. In a commercial bank, a big customer can dictate his or her price. he will tell the MD, sorry, I will not pay more than 14%. You can't give me 2 billion and 14%, forget it. And the manager will go back, go to their meeting and start debating. I don't want to lose the business, so the turnover every month is 5 billion. What we are getting on float is this. We import items through them. We are getting FX float. We are getting this. All their suppliers are banking with us. Let's look at the totality of revenue from the account. Let's not look at all of this interest rate. It's just one element. Let's consider the yield of the relationship. And in most cases, they win. But the nano, the micro, they don't have that negotiating power. They don't have it. They can do without you if you stand alone. Unfortunately for us, even in micro, if they can even come together and aggregate, they can become a force. Like the 5 forces, those forces, you know? They can become a huge force, but they are fragmented. Individually, they cannot take any decision. So they are being oppressed. And it's unfortunate that we're in this space. However, for Bank of Industry, we make provision for them because BOI offers financing at below market rates. And because of the way we are structured, our mandate is not to make profit, even though we're profitable. Last year, we made 52 billion naira profit. But you cannot operate in this environment as DFI considering profitably. We're not a commercial bank, we're not UBA, we're not First Bank. So our mandate that we must do all inclusiveness, put everybody together. Our rates are maximum for 10 blue equipment, 10% per annum. And we can stretch for 5 years for you. For working capital, which involve raw materials, our rates are about 12%. And we can stretch for 3 years. And we also give moratorium period, which is very unique in BOI, which you can't see in a commercial bank. So if I give you money today, I will give you like 3 months or 6 months or 1 year before you start repaying my principal. That period is enable you to develop capacity, generate commercial operation and businesses before you start repaying the facility. And then we work with you, we visit you, we scale you up, or if you say you want something too high, we say, no, let's bring it down, let's work with that first, put your leg in, then we'll grow you, okay? But what we will not do is that we are very focused on your structure. Our requirements are very standardized and we're very rigid about it. So people complain at times that BOI, you appear to be too rigid. The truth of the matter is that for those stability you have in a risk management framework, the bank could not have survived 63 years. A bank that came on board in 1959, that have gone through all the Nigerian processes, before independence, before we became a republic, the civil war, all the military coups and counter coups, the civil rule to date. We are just getting stronger and stronger by the day. There is something we are doing that kept us strong. It's enterprise risk management framework. Very solid. Nobody can shake it. I cannot alter it. Yeah, my time is up. Just give me some minutes to round up, please. Don't be angry. So access to finance is critical. But I think there are the other issues. Capacity building, like what we are doing now. Financial literacy is what we are discussing now. Access to market is also very important. Enabling environment, number 1. Business advisory. We have licensed or accredited more than 300 BDSPs, business development service providers that work with us, because we just have 30 locations across the federation, with 7 regions across the federation. So we cannot go too far. So those 300 people, they are experts, they are lawyers, they are accountants, they are who we've accredited. They work with us to reach out to the micro space to help us package our businesses in line with what we want. So we train them internally. We try to harness them so that they understand what we want. So wherever they are, and they are talking to a would-be customer, they can profile our needs and bring that customer up to that standard before they can now apply to the bank for funding. In Lagos is very unique because of the size of Lagos. Lagos is only state in the federation where we have 2 state offices. We have a state office in Ikeja that caters for the mainland. And we have another one next door in Lekki here that caters for the island. Apart from Lagos, all other states where we have presence, we just have 1 state office that covers the entire state. In some cases, one state office covering 2 state offices. Okay? But our mandate is clear, to develop the industrial sector of the economy. So anybody involved in value addition business, anything value addition, converting raw materials to finished goods, some select services. So anything that involves very high demand. So fashion were involved, roofing sheets were involved, tiles were involved, furniture were involved. Anything that involves day-to-day, for which in most cases Nigeria has abundant raw materials, and you want to convert that to finished products, that equipment you need, that technology you require to ensure you do that is what we'll do for you at a very cheap rate, and will give you very convenient, comfortable tenure to repay the facility, so that you can pay effortlessly, and we can then support and grow our GDP as a country together. So our office is everywhere. Our website is www.by.ng. When you speak last, at times you are under pressure not to say a lot of things. I would have loved that I take the first position, But now you give me 10 minutes and you're not allowing me to even round up what I'm going to say. I can see all the signals. There are so many things, but let me leave you with this. If you need funding in Nigeria today, and we are involved in value-adding business, we don't support trading. We don't do trading. But anything that involves value addition, that involves conversion, for which you need a machine or a technology, we also do some unique services. Please, BOI is where to come to, because our rates are cheaper and are more or less fixed. Because when we give you an offer letter, there's no clause, as we used to have in modern employment, where they say subject to changes in the money market rates. That clause is not there. It is fixed. I joined BOI in 2014, and all the offer letter we gave 2015 are still valid today, because we can run it for 6 years, we can run it for 7 years, we can run it for 4 years, depending on the capacity we want to do. So our balance sheet as at end of last year is about 1.4 trillion. That size, 1 trillion went to LEs, 400 billion went to MSMEs. And so we are very, very prepared and ready. We have enough resources to support the MSMEs. What we're looking for are people to come with very strong business proposals, and of course people who have integrity and character. We want to give you money, but please repay the money, so that we can have those queuing behind can also have ability to access this funding. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Obarasa. Thank you very, very much. And you agree with me that the last two speakers, man, I don't know, Dr. Joe Dada, please, I'm sure we are going to invite them again. Yes. Most definitely, they need to come back. Yes. They need to come back.
And at that time,
because
they'll be the first to present.
Yes, they'll be the first to present. So now we'll go to our question and answer session. And I won't be asking any question. So I'll leave it to the audience to quickly ask two questions each. Can I have the microphone, please? 2 questions for each speaker, so we round up. Our time is fast spent. The first person, yeah.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I have a question for Mr. Barrow. I am processing cocoa beans into cocoa butter with a view for export, primarily. So I approached a good friend who's, I don't know if she's your agent anyway. He gave me all the lowdown about the loan requirement. So I'm applying for a loan. But what really put me off was the terms for the guarantor. The details that they want to know of your guarantor are immense. They're very deep. They want to know their assets, their money in the bank. I mean, it's a bit too, how would you say? Because they want to know everything. I mean, I'm not saying that's not the case. But I want to be sure that that requirement, is it the same as a requirement if I want to borrow money for my machinery? Is the loan a loan generally, or is there a specialized type of loan for machinery only? Would it be the same terms and conditions?
You can have that.
Okay. Okay, can I respond to that? Okay, thank you very much. Because one of the things we did about 4 years ago, we get feedback that customers cannot meet your collateral requirements. And then my MD then said, okay, fine, let's do the numbers. What is up to what value where you have this complaint? And we realize that most of these people who complain, what they need is below 7 million, 5 million. So we came up with a policy to say, those who want to borrow up to 10 million, you don't need any hard collateral from the bank. So for borrowing from BOI up to 10 million, what you need are 2 external guarantors. You only need your legal mortgage, your bank guarantee, other collateral types when you are borrowing above 10 million. So when people ask for information, you know, in Africa, people keep information. How do I say, we don't know you? You walk up to me, you enter Gary processing, you want 20 million or you want 5 million, and I ask, fill this guarantor's form. Somebody who knows you, your classmate, secondary school, in university, your workmate, let the person guarantee you, fill the forms, give you information about who he or she is. And you don't want to do that. How do I know? I don't know you. So the form is very open. What are we requesting for? Your BVN, your address, your photograph, statement of net worth. What do you have? You know, and attach the evidence. So I have to have a car. What type of car? Toyota Corolla. Attach evidence that the car actually belongs to you. Are these difficult to get? Your BVN, your NIN. Are they difficult to get? They're not difficult to get. Okay, so the requirements are standardized to answer your question because there is no Lagos requirements, Abuja requirement, Kano requirement. If you go to our website, www.boi.ng, you will see all the requirements are there. So they are fairly standardized, and then they are very simple requirements if you are borrowing within that category. So it's not different whether you are borrowing machinery for below 10 million or 1 billion or 2 billion. The same standard requirements that are required. Another question we'll ask is that when you ask for proper invoice, they get angry. You say you want to buy an item. And I said, okay, who do you want to buy from? Can I have the proper invoice? You get angry. So how do I know you actually want to buy an item? That is why as a policy, the equipment we are supporting, we won't give you cash. We will pay to the supplier who will supply the equipment. I will go and verify and visit and take photographs and pay directly the money to the supplier after satisfactory delivery of that equipment. So there's no diversion. The only time we release cash is for the micro end, if they need working capital, where they don't have a firm, one person buying. They have several people they are buying from. So then the cash will go to the market and pick little fragments from different shops. So we'll release the money to you. But for the equipment, we insist, let's pay your supplier, let the supply the equipment, because you need the equipment to do your business. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Do we have any more questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So Mr. Obaro, thank you for that explanation you gave now. If you look at what is happening in Nigeria, especially when the person advancing the money is sort of having a link with the government, people in Nigeria tend to look at that national cake in quotes. So that's why you have that. We have not upgraded here, like what happened in the UK, where anybody picking loan for anything believes that, no, I have the obligation I need to pay back. But I really appreciate that good enterprise control that you people are having. And to mention to you that I'm a lover of your program on channels. In fact, you have really, with the support you've given to people, the success story people have given out, I'm just waiting for my own time to come around when I have get into the conversion of what I want to be doing. So you guys are doing wonderfully well. But another thing I would love that BOI do is that you need to try and see a way to really scrutinize people coming to you for money. You understand me? I know some people, let me say I overheard them discussing they've got money from you guys. What they said they would be using the money for, it's not what they use it for. You understand me? And before you know, that becomes a bad loan. And that is what is causing the stricter measures that you guys are employing now. But you guys are doing fantabulously well. Anytime I listen to that program on channels and I see the success story, like a lady producing leather shoe in Kano, no, that a story still come to my memory. So good job you guys are doing. But please watch it very well. Do your due diligence the more. Because people believe that they are just coming to come and collect free money.
Thank you.
And
Thank
they
you,
want
sir.
to go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ma, the chamber has said it that they need to bring you back. Because you rush into all those things. You rush into that. And the one that really keen into me is the rock and the pebble. So I need to know that when it's pebble, don't waste time on it. Do put your time on the rocks, the one that will give you the high end. So we really enjoy you.
Thank you so much, sir. One more question.
Good afternoon. My name is Adam Makadiri. I'm into document management. So when you talked, Mr. Barrow, when you talked about specific businesses that you give loans to, especially in the area of service, you said specific, you said fashion, the usual things, production, manufacturing. Some of us are not in that line, right? So it becomes a bit, for me, I'm like, applying for a loan, they ask me, what do I do? I'm like, I'm not manufacturing anything. So is there any provision for people like us, like me, services? And it's a specific kind of service, document management. Not many people in Nigeria know about it. We just help companies create structures to organize their documents. So, we want to grow bigger, but we need such grants and loans. So how is it possible for us? Thank you.
Okay, we are not LSTF, so we don't issue grants. Grants, no in BOI. But we do facilities. Now, I was a bit careful when I use the word select services. So that services is defined as follows. Technical education, we will support that. We will not support generic education. So primary school, nursery school, university, no. But technical, because they have a direct relationship with industries. Now, there are some other services that are so unique to manufacturing process that if you don't support it, the manufacturing process will collapse. For instance, when you say NACO, when you go to the airport, the airline is a different business. But those guys that provide those services for you to walk down the aircraft and then board and on board is very critical. If they withdraw their services, that industry is gone. If you go to Nigerian breweries, they produce tons and tons of bottles of drinks periodically. Now, when they finish production, they stack them. Now, to move those crates from where they are stacked to put them on board the trailer, who will take them away, that's haulage business, is a very critical function in that production value process. Because without that, that item will not get to the market. If it does not get to the market, there's no revenue. You're going to have build stock, no revenue, no cash. They can't pay for your facility. So those critical services that are required for the successful operation of a manufacturing concern, we support it. So we do haulage. All those services, we do it because if you justify it, you can sell it. So when you say data management, it's not too clear to me, but we can discuss offline, because so many things run through my mind in data management. Yeah, so it's just strictly document management. What's the value in it? I don't know. I don't think we can do that. Yes, what's the value in it in terms of manufacturing? What does it connect to? It's strictly services. But now we have various technology. IT is changing the world. When we started 2 years back, we said we'll not touch financial inclusion. But today we're doing it because the direction of the world, you cannot stop it. So we embraced it. So let's talk. Maybe you ask a lot of questions, and if I can justify it, I can push it. I need to justify it. There must be a business case for us to do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So that brings us to the end of this event. Thank you so much for coming. I'll be inviting Ejiro to give the vote of thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. So I'll be doing two things. Please hold on, Ma. Please hold on, sir. Yes. You must agree with me that we saved the best for the last, right? Please, let's celebrate. No, we value you too much. We value you too much that we are bringing you back. Please, let's celebrate our speakers and our moderator. Yeah, in further of the appreciation, please, Dr. Dada, kindly join us as we present the gift to Dr. Njoko. Just a minute, sir. Yes, please.
Doctor, you will have to come back again.
Yes. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, and we present this to Mr. Osa. Yeah, thank you for representing Mr. Piton. And you represented him very well. Thank you, sir. And to our delectable moderator. Wow. We celebrate. We appreciate you.
Delectable. She deserves this, doesn't she?
Yes, sir. I'll attest to that. It's not easy.
And to everyone seated here, you deserve a round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for staying here all day. Yes, you've practically spent your day with us. We know that it wasn't easy. The traffic wasn't easy. We understood that it rained earlier. And then through the rain, through the storm, you made it here. What that shows is that you're resilient and that nothing can stop you. So thank you so much. We appreciate every speaker who spoke here, and our Patrons Council members, and special thanks and special appreciation to Terragon for supporting this program and making it happen, and the MSME committee for putting in their best to make this happen. We know that much more programs are coming up, and we will have your favorite speakers back here again. Yeah, and to the NBCC team, thank you so much for making this happen, for the support and for the arrangement and making this event flawless. And we'll just go to upcoming events. While the program was going on, a couple of people were asking, what do you do? What else is coming up? We want to be part of your program. And just so you don't miss it, October is Power Packed. In October, we're having the economic value of lifestyle and beauty. And trust me, don't get it twisted that you have the makeup there. It's not a makeup event. Yeah, it's all about lifestyle. You're going to be having people just like Dr. Njoko. And yes, and then the makeup is just an add-on to say, okay, for the ladies who love the makeup, you'll be having free makeup from BM Pro. And then also, and that will be happening October 11th. So please mark your calendar. And the next event will be the SpeedNet Business Networking event. We had it premiered last year, and it was amazing. And a lot of people are looking forward to this. So if you're looking forward to having business leads and new connections, that is the event you should look out for. And please save it in your calendar and don't miss it also. And also coming up in October is the 2022 African EduTech Conference. Yes, we don't just do business events only. We are impacting the society also. And then we are into the tech sector. And we know the education sector needs our touch. And then we are reaching through this EduTech Conference where you see innovative youths and students coming up with all innovative ideas. It's something to look out for. And if you can't join physically, you can join virtually too. The registration links are there. And that's going to be happening on Thursday, October 13th, 2022. And then for an event to look forward to in May 2023 is our trade mission. Yes, and we are going to be starting from London to Birmingham. It's amazing, and we are paving the way for growth. So if you want to pave the way for growth, I am asking you and employing you to please sign up with us for our trade mission, and you will not regret it because it's going to give you a business expansion. Yeah, and We would also love to hear from you. We want to know ways that we can improve our events and our programs. And you could scan the barcode, or you fill out the form. But if you're unable to do that, please don't leave without asking for it at the front desk. It's very important so that we know what we are doing wrong. And whatever we are doing right, let's keep it. I'm sure that there are a couple of things we would want, suggestions we would like to give. And we're willing, and trust me, your feedback, we love your feedback. And yet, if you're interested in being a member, we've had quite a number of people walking up to us. How do we become members? You can just look us up on www.nbcc.org.ng, or better still, you're already here. So why go online? Please ask me. Ask the front desk. We want to hear from you. We will tell you all that is required. We will make it seamless and easy, so it's easier. When you're online, you cannot ask some questions. So the reason why we are putting out the website is for our online audiences. We know that you're still online, and we're saying thank you for staying with us. So you can go to our website if you're online. But for those of you sitting here and you're interested in being a member, please ask me. Ask our brothers and sisters that are out there at the front desk. We would love to hear from you. I would love to have you as members. And finally, to know more of our events, because I've only showed you October events. There are events in November, and of course, all you need to do is follow us on our Instagram, our Facebook, and LinkedIn, and also on our YouTube. Those are the channels, and you won't miss it. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen, and NBCC loves you. Thank you.